the Giants' turn to try and answer. And here's Saquon Barkley. And he is off to the races. The 30, the 20. Saquon for 6. Deep to right field. Oh, baby. Put it on the scoreboard. The kid has done it again. Jordan. Open. Chicago with the lead.
Ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant good evening to everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Lewis Sports Network. It is your boy Lewis coming back at you again with another live stream with yet another video. Make sure you guys are ready to smash that like button. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Make sure your notifications are turned on. Make sure you guys are sharing this on your social media platforms. Truly appreciate it. Salute to the LSN Mod Squad. As you guys can see in the background, this is what we're talking about. It's the night before Christmas, Christmas Eve. It's NBA Finals Eve in the bubble. But right here on the Lewis Sports Network, it's preview between the Miami Heat and the Los Angeles Lakers in Game 1 of the 2020 NBA Finals in the Orlando bubble. Salute to everybody in the chat as always. New subscribers, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're new. Make sure to hit that like button as you guys come in. Share on your social media platforms. Truly appreciate it. How's everybody doing this evening? Hope everybody is doing great. Are you guys ready to talk some Lakers Heat basketball? And also, I'm going to talk about Doc Rivers and his firing, and then we can pretty much get our thoughts on that. Hopefully, everybody is ready to get their basketball knowledge here on the Lewis Sports Network. So salute to all of you guys, man. Let me see who was in the building. Salute to A. David. He says everybody knows that the Lakers are winning. So, hey, it is what it is, man. I was going to – listen, I picked the Lakers to win, but it still doesn't mean that Miami can't give them a challenge. So people are just pushing the Heat aside, acting like they're just going to get pushed over. So we will wait and see, but we're still going to talk anyway. Shout out to Mahari Nation Sports Podcast. Salute to you, my brother. How is everything with you, man, today? Hope everything is good with you guys. If you have not, make sure to go check out Mahari Nation Sports Podcast. Great channel. Make sure you give him a check out and make sure to go subscribe to this channel. I'm telling you, articulate brother, man, knows his stuff. Go check him out. If you have not, please go check him out. Salute to Karam in the building. What is good, my friend? Hope everything is good with you, Karam. What is good to my man, Big J Jefferson? By the way, Jay, I'm going to hit you up later on tonight about that Detroit Pistons video for Thursday. If you're still in on that, let me know if you're available, and I'll have you on as a guest for that one to talk about your Detroit Pistons, because I know we talked a lot about that in terms of what they meant for basketball, and going to get you definitely on that, man. So salute to Ron. What is good with you, man? Again, guys, make sure to like the videos you guys come in. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Karam says he's going to get the Lakers in 7. Okay, cool. Hopefully we continue to see more people come in for sure. Salute to my man, Brandon. What is good, bro? Oh, no problem, man. It's all good. I figured that it was going to be a difficult time to do that live, but it was kind of really the only time I could put that live in there, just because I know that, there were people working, and I just had to put this basketball in. If I didn't have to do basketball, then I would have definitely had done this, tonight. But I decided to, because tomorrow is the NBA Finals, so to start Game 1. So I definitely have to put this one in for sure. All right, so all right, continue to salute. And he says, I'm down. I got you, man. I'm about to make that video. So I will have him as a guest. Also, what I'm going to start doing actually during these NBA Finals, actually, as a matter of fact, either on a preview or either on a post-game show, I'm actually going to have one of you guys come in and pretty much, give your thoughts on the game. Even though you're probably going to be, listening in the chat and stuff like that, I would definitely, allow people to come in and definitely, kind of give their thoughts on the game and stuff like that. So I'm going to start doing that. It's just, I've been so busy. It's like I've been trying to put these live streams together that it's been kind of difficult to try to get people to come on. But I'm definitely going to try to get, you guys just to kind of, give you a chance to speak your minds and stuff like that. So I'm definitely going to do that. All right, man. And Brandon says, Lewis, I know how it is, man. It's a good thing I could replay the video. No question about it. Actually, one of the subs said that they were going to replay the video once they did that. So if you guys have not checked it out, make sure you guys go check out the Nation of Domination. It was a video that I did much earlier today on why that group doesn't get enough recognition from being one of the, the impact that the Nation of Domination laid in not just, the WWE, but, in wrestling. So that's why I just wanted to put that out there. So go check that video out. I did that video earlier. So just take a look and just give my thoughts on that. Even if you're not into wrestling, I just wanted to give kind of like as Mahari would say, historical perspective, because that's really what it was. And those are words of Mahari, but again, salute to that brother. Salute to G Money, man. What is good with you, bro? What is good? I'm good. Just supporting my big bro. No doubt, man. I appreciate everybody's support in there, man. I tell you, like, and again, Mahari's just been putting in monster content every time that he comes out. And my man Mahari is getting close to 1K, man. He's worked hard. He's worked hard, continuously works hard, continuously puts out great content, and he's getting close, man. So if y'all have not, subscribe to the channel and help Mahari get to 1,000, man. Trust me, that will make him feel better, and that definitely will make me feel better. Okay, now that we got the pleasantries and introductions out the way, let's get on to the video, shall we? Let's entertain ourselves, be entertained, put your knowledge in the chat, and then I'm just going to give my thoughts. Let's get to it, all right? So, NBA Finals, series between the Lakers and the Miami Heat. You have to ask yourself, how did we get here? Well, if you look at the Miami Heat, they missed the playoffs before. They missed the playoffs last year. You look at the Lakers, they also missed the playoffs. A historical perspective on these two teams is both of these teams last year missed the playoffs. This season, they're facing each other in the NBA Finals. That in NBA history had never been done before. No two teams had ever missed the playoffs the previous year and then go to the NBA Finals the following season and then end up facing each other as opponents. So that's what the Lakers and the Heat accomplished. Now, when you look at the Lakers, they were expected to be here. Why? Anthony Davis came in that trade, trading Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart, to get him. And being the top 5 player that Anthony Davis is, helping LeBron James, get to this point to where the Lakers can call themselves Western Conference champions. They've dominated the playoffs. I know that the circumstances were very different, but the way that things were falling in line, and especially because it's 2020, and remember the Lakers have won a championship 10 years ago with Kobe Bryant and Pau Gasol and the Lakers going up against Ray Allen, KG, Paul Pierce, Rajon Rondo, and the Boston Celtics. Something kind of told you, could we possibly see a Celtics-Laker matchup? Because that's what it was starting to kind of look like when you kind of line up the numbers. Then on top of that, in regular season stances, this probably wouldn't have happened when you kind of consider everything. But it looked like it was going to be a Lakers Celtics, and the Miami Heat said we're going to have none of that, and they dispelled that notion in 6 games and got rid of the Boston Celtics. So the Lakers were expected to be here from the start of the season. They had championship aspirations. The Lakers were arguably the best team, not just in the Western Conference, and obviously one of the top 2-3 teams in the NBA overall. So they were expected to get here, and they dispatched the Portland Trail Blazers in 5 games. What I kept telling people is that the Portland Trail Blazers were the weakest defensive team. I was not on the Trailblazer bandwagon because I said that they were not smart enough to play through not only the referees, but this whole thing with Damian Lillard carrying and doing all this. I knew that wasn't going to happen. I'm sorry. It just wasn't going to happen. Just not going to happen at all. Let me just look at the chat real quick before I continue. G-Money says, I got the Lakers in 6, but I hope the Heat flame out the Lakers and complete their surprising run. Now, as I continue in the content, I'm going to tell you what this series reminds me of. It's a very small sample, but it reminds me of something. Salute, Jay. Me and you both. Okay, nice. What's popping, guys? G-Money says that the Lakers don't hoist that Larry O'Brien trophy, LeBron is not in my top 10 anymore. Well, the way that I see it is, I don't think that I would remove LeBron from my top 10, but I just don't think he goes up any higher. To be honest with you, when I look at LeBron's career, he has a top 10 resume. It's just a big blank on him. It's really more so winning. And when you put things into proper context and eye test, and then you add the narrative, that's the reason that I don't have LeBron higher. He's in my lower top 10. But you could put him, to be honest with you, LeBron is really more so 6 to 10. You know, when you look at his NBA career, some people have him out of the top 10. Some people don't even have him in the top 15 because they just flat out don't like him. But I have him in my top 10, and I just think he's on the lower part of the top 10. I don't think he's personally better than Larry Bird. That's just my opinion. The reason is because Larry Bird accomplished just as much as he did in less time. And remember, a player's stats accumulate in the years over time. But the crazy part is that when you always compare players and you compare them peak to peak, who was the more dominant and more impactful player and arguably the best player when you made the comparisons during their time period when they played? That's where I do the measurement. It's just that some of these guys that, you know, they argue, they get all biased, they get all emotional, and it's like, it's called facts over feelings, ladies and gentlemen. I don't argue on emotion. I just argue on my research, my facts, and I put my feelings aside. This is about what you research and how you put things in perspective. That's how it is. Thank you. I will return to historical perspective after the finals, no doubt. All right, cool. Let me just breeze through here. Just saying, AD is the reason why LeBron is in the NBA finals in the first place. But you know what? I decided to bring some receipts. I brought some receipts, you know? And not only that, it's because of also with Coach Spoelstra. So the reason that I have mentioned that is because I'm telling y'all right now that these narratives that, you know, these guys continue to spew, you know, on, you know, LeBron James and stuff like that. And I'm talking about the media in particular. You're going to see what I'm talking about. Some people say Miami reminds us of the 2004 Detroit Pistons. AD is a top 5 player in this league. Boy George is not. Oh, that's a fact. I can see the comparison a little bit, but just a little bit. People are counting out the Heat and saying this will end at 5. They don't know much basketball. AD balls out in the playoffs. PG struggles in the playoffs. Heat aren't a bad team. They're discredited. The Heat are more consistent than the Boston Celtics. The Heat have depth, versatility, and toughness to get the job done. Boston would have gotten destroyed by LA because they were inconsistent and they were not deep. And that's what I was saying. No disrespect to the Boston Celtics, but I just felt like because they were inconsistent and you never know what team is going to show up, I felt like the Lakers were going to dispatch them because also Boston is not bigger than the Lakers are. So that's really more so it was. Nothing personal against Boston. They got a bright future. I like their talent. It's just I don't think that they were a good matchup for the Lakers. Brandon says, I'm more curious about Eric Spoelstra's defensive scheme on Anthony Davis. Now, let me ask you this question, guys. What do you think the Heat should do defensively? Should they worry about guarding LeBron James or should they worry about guarding Anthony Davis? Let me know in the comment section. I think LeBron knows that this is his last chance and that his championship window may be closing, so he's motivated. That's a fact. Shout out to MTG99. He says, I hope the Heat win it all. Salute. Gazilla says, what's up? What is up? Raduni says, what is up? Shout out to Raduni. I haven't seen you in a while. G-Money, salute to you. I hear you put in work on Ticket TV. And oh, wow, really? All right, congrats. Salute to G-Money on that. Salute. So I decided to bring a couple of receipts that nobody's probably going to talk about. And I know that people are going to honestly believe that they think that this wasn't even going to happen. But I had to do it because it was just to dispel something, just to show the truth. Because there's a lot of narratives that go around and what people talk about, but they just decided to kind of leave that blank, right? Shout out to Anthony L. Appreciate you guys. Make sure to like the video as you guys come in. Miami should double team AD and force guys to shoot. This is 4-zip for the Lakers. Okay, says Raduni. I think that he should guard AD more. Thanks, Brandon. What's good, Lewis? What's good, chat? Bam Adebayo is tough inside the paint. That's absolutely true, and he's balling. Miami isn't getting swept with me. Let's see. I think that they should worry about LeBron and AD test their toughness. Actually, what is good, Lewis? What is good, Caden? And guys, if you guys haven't, man, make sure to go give Caden a look at. Make sure to also go subscribe to his channel as well. If you guys haven't, he's so close to 700 subscribers. I would really appreciate if you guys help Caden out. Caden has consistently been putting really good content on his channel. So another really good YouTuber. So give him an opportunity and make sure to give him a look and subscribe to his channel. G Money, of course, man, you're a real one. All right. If you are Miami, dare Bron to shoot jump shots. Salute Anthony L. All right. MTG says the Heat have better shooters. They do. The Heat are actually deeper than the Lakers. Slightly deeper, not completely deeper, but just a little more deeper than the Lakers. They have something that the Lakers don't, and that's shooting, especially from three, which is one of the Lakers' weaknesses defensively, and that's defending the three. The Lakers are not that great. They've looked good in the bubble, but that's because when you look at the teams that they went up against, with all due respect to them, and I give the Lakers credit for dispatching those teams in 5 games or so and taking care of business, but it's because none of those teams really have a matchup. Even the Denver Nuggets, who are a very good and deep team, they don't have a matchup for LeBron or Anthony Davis. They just don't. And then you also have to consider there's a little bit of bias when it comes to the referees. Oh, wow, really? Caden actually hit 700 subscribers today. So, ladies and gentlemen, want to wish Caden a congratulations for reaching 700 subs. He is 300 away from that magical 1K. Congratulations, Caden. That's awesome. Hopefully you continue to get more subscribers and continue to grow. That's what's up, man. Congratulations, Caden. Raguni says AD is always the key. You don't worry about LeBron. Okay, Godzilla. Shout out to Godzilla Suplex, man. He is killing it with the UFC videos. The Celtics need more depth. Who should they get in the offseason? That's a good question. And I'm going to look into that in the near future. Brandon says, with the Lakers being so big, I'd start with a half-court big game against them. Interesting. G-Money says, it would have been interesting had Denver and Miami face off. Well, when it comes to ratings-wise and money-wise, no. When it comes to pure basketball, yeah. When it comes to pure basketball, playing team basketball, that would actually be a very, very fun matchup between the Nuggets and the Heat. It's just the problem is because the Nuggets and the Nugget is not a big market team. They're gonna bypass that, and because the Nuggets, they're not the money cachet that the Lakers are. So no. And the thing is, when you look at the Lakers and the Heat, you're talking about LA in the West, and you're talking about East LA in the East, Miami. So Miami is the East Coast version of LA, as I've always called it. And you know, Stephania A. Smith, aka Stephen A. Smith, is so excited because it's just the difference is that this is different circumstances. So it's not the same that he thought that it was going to be. But if it was in regular circumstances, he would have loved to travel to LA and to South Beach. I think he wants those Latina mommies. That's why Stephen A. always be capping for an NBA Finals, always in warm weather when he always talks about the Lakers or South Beach. Let's be real. I also wonder about Anthony Davis's ankle. That is true. If you can cut down AD's points over lobs and in the paint, and have him shooting more turnaround jumpers, and don't let the supporting cast contribute. I'm trying to say you probably got a chance to win. Shout out to Toby. Appreciate you coming through, man. Salute to you, Toby. Appreciate it. Brandon says, I was thinking that too. Denver has no chance against Miami. Though Rondo could be the X factor. Okay. All right, so let me just start something real quick. Let me just check something out. I was trying to look at something. All right, let me just see real quick. No, it's not there. Okay. So I was trying to look for a video that I had saved. I'm trying to upload it. Let me see if I can. If I can do it, this would be great. Let's see if I can do it, if I can find it. Let's see what we got. Okay, I think I found it. Perfect. Got it. I just found it. This is going to be great. All right, awesome. Awesome. All right, let me continue to look in the comment section. Butler needs to be a scorer and be aggressive. G Money says Miami needs to be consistent from downtown. Yeah, that is going to be a key. Miami's going to have to shoot the three well to help the Lakers, to help space the floor where the Lakers are going to have to come out and guard the perimeter, which the Lakers don't want. They want to pack home in the paint because they are a big team. I do think that Rondo will turn the inexperienced Tyler Hero and Robinson over. If Danny Green is knocking down open threes, and the Heat have no chance. LA is in their 32nd NBA Finals. Yeah, we know. Yep. That's the most final appearances of, I think they have more than the Boston Celtics. Those turnovers I saw Tyler Hero commit in Game 6 is alarming. True. I want to see what Goran Dragic is going to do. Interesting. Who do you got in the series? You can put Crowder, Bam, or Jimmy on AD or LeBron, and it wouldn't be a bad option. See, that's the thing that they don't talk about with the Miami Heat. They have multiple defenders that they could throw at Bron. The key thing is though, Miami's going to have to be physical with this team. Miami's going to have to be physical with this team. Now, continuing on this, and Jay says, call me crazy, but I got the Miami Heat in 5. Okay, for now I'm going to call you crazy because I got the Lakers winning the series. But ironically, Dragic was in Phoenix when LA knocked them off in the playoffs in 2010. Dragic is trying to get revenge. That's an interesting storyline, and I'm actually glad you brought that up because 10 years ago, when the Lakers knocked off Goran Dragic, he was a Phoenix Sun, and he went up against the Los Angeles Lakers. 10 years later, Dragic is on the team that LeBron played for, and he's going up against the Los Angeles Lakers, this time in the NBA Finals because he's in the East. So that's interesting. That's very interesting. So when you look at these two teams, Miami is predicated on defense. They have a system, and they have leadership in Jimmy Butler. I know Jimmy Butler has a tendency to kind of get lackadaisical sometimes, and and sometimes doesn't always put the gas to the pedal when he should. But when Jimmy Butler wants to, he's one of the best defenders in the league, and that's a fact. Now, when I look at the series, you're talking about. Well, let me go this way. So if you guys remember the 2000 Western Conference Finals between the Lakers and the Blazers, we have the old term that always says too deep with LeBron and AD versus too deep with the Miami Heat. So Miami's depth going up against the Lakers' 2 superstars. Now, what does Miami have to do to beat the Lakers? Now, I said that this series kind of gives me a 2004 feel a little bit, and here's the reason why is because even though Bam Adebayo made the All-Star team, remember, the Lakers are expected to win. Remember, you have to understand the star power that they have, so they're expected to win this series. They're going to be the heavy favorites. Miami are the underdogs. Now, Jimmy Butler said that we're not the underdogs, but Bam Adebayo came out and said we're going to have the underdog mentality, so it's going to be us. But I do believe this is not going to be an easy series for either team. I think Miami can really challenge the Lakers. And the reason I think that they could challenge them is because they play together, they play defense, they move the basketball, they can shoot the 3, and they're versatile. And they have great coaching, and they have great leadership. Now, do I think they're going to win the series? No, but they could give them problems because they have Jimmy Butler, who they could throw on LeBron James. If they wanted to put a bigger player, Bam Adebayo could stay with LeBron James. The only problem is you take them as a big away. That leaves AD, Dwight, and JaVale McGee. Also, you could throw Iguodala at LeBron James. Now, is it going to be easy? No. You can also throw Jay Crowder on LeBron James. So they got 3 guys. The question is, who do you guard? Now, if it's me personally, what I would do is treat the Lakers like 2004. What do I mean by that? You let AD dominate, and you take LeBron James out of the game. Why do I say that? Because think about it. If AD is dominant, LeBron James is non-existent. If you can stay at home with the shooters and stay with LeBron James, you take away LeBron's passing, then you take away LeBron's scoring. LeBron doesn't become a factor anymore. It all becomes on Anthony Davis. Now, to rattle Anthony Davis, you have to get physical with him. That's one of the ways that I think that it's going to give Anthony Davis issues and how they're going to be able to do this, because remember, JaVale McGee can't play many minutes. Also remember that the Heat have got to be able to, it's not just rebound. They have to be good on defensive rebounding. And I say defensive rebounding because the Lakers are one of the better offensive rebounding teams, because you have Anthony Davis, you have JaVale McGee, and you have Dwight Howard. Also, don't forget Rajon Rondo, who's a pretty good rebounder at his position at point guard. So Miami has to pay extra attention to detail to make sure that they do a good job on their defensive rebounds. Defensive rebounds. So they have to do a good job of securing those rebounds. If the Lakers get offensive rebounds and they get second chance points off of this, Miami's going to lose this series pretty quickly. Because then once they start to worry about that, then the Lakers are going to be able to open the floor. Now, with the Lakers, you do have to question, some of the shooters. They do have experience. They have Danny Green. Obviously, they have they got Danny Green. I think they got Danny Green. Obviously, they got KCP. Now, KCP has been actually more consistent than Danny Green. Now, can Danny Green come back to his San Antonio Spurs form and knock down the shots that are gonna help the Lakers to win? Because the Lakers are not a good three-point shooting team, but the key for the Lakers is you cannot let the Lakers get established inside, because once you do that, that's when they start to get rhythm on the outside. So you have to take away the Lakers' rhythm on the inside and force the Lakers somehow to beat you from outside shooting. But the thing is also, you don't want you don't want certain players just to get open. You want to make it difficult. So that leads me to my next thing. How is Miami's zone defense going to be effective against the Lakers? Because when I was watching tape, what I noticed is one of the ways that the Lakers beat the zone was having Anthony Davis would flash to the top of the key. You can also put Anthony Davis in the high post. What happens is, and then if you play with another big, that causes either Dwight Howard or JaVale McGee to hide behind the Miami Heat defense, which means if AD catches the ball in the middle of the floor, that can allow Anthony Davis to either get a quick shot, whether it's a mid-range shot, a little floater, a jump hook, or even a lob to JaVale McGee or Dwight Howard, or maybe just get an inside pass. So Miami's going to have to mix up their zone to make sure that they don't allow any plays up the middle inside the painted area from the top of the key all the way down to the paint. So Miami's going to have to mix up their zone. So they have to figure out how their zone defense is going to be effective. And I'm also interested to see how the Lakers are going to attack that zone. So they were able to do it in the regular season. So they did make some adjustments. And you know that the game one, even if this is the NBA Finals, it's going to be a feel-out game. So let me just check in the comment section real quick. Wow, missed it a lot. Okay. It will be like 2004 G Money. Remember that year, G Money? My Pistons beat the Lakers in 5. They guarded Kobe 94 feet and let Shaq do his thing. And Kobe really stopped passing the ball too. He says, "You are crazy. Miami is not rolling through Los Angeles." AD needs to dominate Bam this series. If not, the Lakers are in trouble because LeBron has to deal with Iggy, Butler, and Joe. And that's the thing also, because like I said before, and like you guys have been saying in the comments, there's multiple defenders they can throw at LeBron, which is why Anthony Davis is going to be key in dominating against Bam Adebayo. But also don't forget that Bam is a matchup nightmare for Anthony Davis as well. So let's not get that twisted, because like Anthony Davis, Bam is a pretty good defender himself. And he's a very good low post defender. So for Miami to also have a chance, he cannot get in foul trouble against Anthony Davis, because if he does, Miami goes real small. And that's going to be a problem for them unless they get hot from the perimeter. And so Miami's also going to have to find a way to get easy baskets. And I would have to say they're going to have to get in transition, because the Lakers are one of the best in the league at getting in transition. So Miami's transition defense is going to have to be key. And opportunistically, they need to run out and get some easy scores. You're going to have to. Let's not forget Iggy. So that's 4 defenders, right? The Pistons were very physical with the Lakers, and they had a game plan, and they had a great coach, and they had depth. Miami has the same characteristics. That's why I'm comparing them to the 04 team, because it's very, very, very similar. Now, could you imagine what a loss like this would do to a LeBron James? I mean, I know Anthony Davis, but Anthony Davis has got time. LeBron's window for a championship is closing. So this is his best opportunity to get ring number 4. Iggy may need to look at the finals MVP version of himself. True, but I think Detroit had more go-to guys in Billups, Sheed, and Rip to get it done. I mean, but Tyler Hero is capable of getting it done. My only concern with Tyler Hero is taking care of the basketball, because he was turning the ball over a little way too much in that fourth quarter of Game 6. So that's the only thing that kind of concerns me with Tyler Hero. Also, though, sometimes he had a tough time getting going in the last couple of games. Whereas in the last 2 games, where in Game 4, he had, 17 fourth quarter points, and he was huge down the stretch. So I think the Lakers are going to have to pay attention to Tyler Hero as well. This is the series also where Jimmy Butler is going to have to really ball out, because he's going to have to really lead this team. They do have depth. Miami really has to continue to share the ball. So that's important. He needs to unlock that 2015 Finals MVP version in the series, right? Okay. Also, Miami needs to rebound and keep LA off the glass. But like I said, it's not just they need to defensive rebound. That's the key, because the Lakers are a great offensive rebounding team. So defensive rebounding is going to be key. Defensive rebounding. Because when you're not a good rebounding team, it's, you're just bad at both ends. But it's not just rebound, it's defensive rebounding, because the Lakers get second chance points when you don't get that ball off of them. So it's going to have to be that. Iggy can stretch the floor and he can play make. Iguodala said in this double down NBA, he says he can play till he's 40. Exactly, Jay. Defensive rebounding is going to be the key. And they got to take care of the ball. They cannot turn the ball over. I didn't like the way they were turning the ball over against Boston in Game 6. It was getting really sloppy for those guys. Real sloppy. So they need to do a better job of taking care of the basketball. So taking care of the ball, defensive rebounding. LA are great at transition. Yep. Again, salute to everybody in the chat. Make sure you guys like the video as you guys come in. Make sure to subscribe to the channel as well if you have not. Make sure to share on your social media platforms. Shout out to Omar. Appreciate you coming through. Also, Miami needs to hustle back on transition defense and prevent lobs from AD, McGee, Howard. To me, the lobs are really going to be more so in the half court when they do their zone defense. So that they're going to have to pay attention to that. So there's zone defense in the half court. I think is going to be key. More so in transition. Also, if you guys see, I put the finals as the branding logo for this video, because that's what it's going to be. And actually, that's going to be the logo for pretty much this whole series tomorrow, right here, Lewis Sports Network. So salute to you guys. Danny Green will have so many wide open 3-point opportunities. He might have an NBA Finals record for that most open 3-point shot attempts. And that's a definite, because of the attention that Bron and AD are going to get. That's why I said Danny Green is the X factor for the Lakers. If he plays like 2013 Danny Green, oh yeah. If San Antonio had knocked off Miami, he could have probably been Finals MVP in 2013. I don't think Danny Green would have won Finals MVP. I think he was a deserving candidate, but I don't think he would have won Finals MVP. I think that probably might have been Tony Parker or Tim Duncan. I don't think Danny Green did set an NBA Finals record shooting the basketball for most threes in an NBA Finals series, but I don't think he would have won it just because of that, though. Bam needs to stay out of foul trouble and be disciplined. Let LeBron run the show, because he wants the Finals MVP, and when it matters, he's going to be out of gas like the Warriors did. So I think what Raduni's basically saying is stay at home with AD and everybody else, and let LeBron try to get that Finals MVP. Okay. I'm doing reverse, because I'm saying that this has got a 2004 Finals type of feel. Let AD dominate and take LeBron out the game and stay at home with everybody else. Miami can't be satisfied just making the finals. No, they're not. As a matter of fact, G-Money, let me tell you real quick. When they won the Eastern Conference Championship, they didn't ask for confetti. The Lakers got the confetti, but the thing is also, it's almost in a way like the Lakers got that celebration. But just imagine if, let's just say that the Lakers don't win, even though I got them winning the championship. Let's just say that they don't, right? All that confetti that happened in the Western Conference Finals, you know that the media is going to use that as a celebration. Well, last year, LeBron didn't get you to the playoffs, but then LeBron got you to the NBA Finals the next year. That's not going to fly in LA. That's not going to fly in LA. With everything that's going on, they have to win the title. They have to win the title. Especially with what happened with Kobe, they got to win the title. That's just not going to fly. It's like we're going to celebrate, oh, they got to the final. No. Especially because you're the favorites against the Miami Heat. If Miami were to somehow upset the Lakers, the only way that it resembles 2004 is if LeBron plays terrible in the series and they lose the series. That's the only way. Yeah, because a lot of things are going to happen. A lot of teams are going to improve next year, so nothing's guaranteed. This is kind of like why I said that this was called the COVID championship for that reason. The only way that the thing is, Kendrick Nunn hasn't even really played, and I'm wondering, is he like ready for this kind of stage? You know, is he staying ready? And I don't know if this is the series for him. I mean, he could be an unsung hero, but I don't know how Kendrick Nunn is going to all of a sudden play. I would be totally surprised if Kendrick Nunn is a very good player, and I think he's going to be a future All-Star. But I don't know, because he had not really been playing well in the bubble. He was playing well throughout the season, but I don't know what happened. He just struggled, and he really hasn't been in the playoff rotation. So I wonder if Kelly Olynyk is playing the series. I think he is. I think he's gonna be there to really stretch the floor, because you're gonna need Kelly Olynyk to hit some shots. No, Kelly Olynyk is too slow because Kelly has footwork, but it's just not fluid. See, Anthony Davis, he has fluid footwork, and that's just a bad matchup for Kelly Olynyk. Kelly Olynyk's best bet is to kind of stretch him out on the floor, but also Anthony Davis's length is going to really block shots. AD can guard the perimeter as much as he can guard, inside the paint. That's what makes him a first-team All-NBA defender, which he made this year, by the way. And he also made first-team All-NBA. The question for the series is Miami's offensive flow and consistency. That's a good question. Godzilla Suplex, that's a very good question. None he could, but I kind of question it because he hasn't really played that long. I'm wondering if Kendrick Nunn, is ready for that. And if he shows that he's ready and he's able to do something like that, I mean, Erik Spoelstra is a chess player, so I got to see how this plays out. And congratulations to both coaches, Frank Vogel and to Erik Spoelstra. I know this has got to feel great for him. And like I said, can we dispel the narrative that LeBron has never played for a great head coach? Because Erik Spoelstra has the number 5 seeded Miami Heat, who were not even expected to make a lot of noise this season. Not only did they surprise people with how well they played, I thought that they were going to be a second-round exit in the playoffs. They're in the NBA Finals, and they're the 3rd lowest seed to make the NBA Finals. They're the 5th seed. They dispelled the Milwaukee Bucks and the Boston Celtics, the 2 teams that were favored over the Miami Heat, and they got rid of them both. Don't forget, Miami doesn't have the pressure to win. That's another thing. Thank you, Raduni, for mentioning that. The Heat, they have nothing to lose. The Lakers do. The Heat have nothing to lose coming into this series. That's a big thing. That's a big thing. Yup, Lou, the Pistons let Shaq do his thing, but they took Kobe out. Yeah, that's why I said that I would do the reverse. I actually would not worry so much about AD. Let AD dominate and let him be the Shaq, because AD is kind of like a Shaq, like a Kareem when it comes to dominance in terms of being able to put that ball in the basket and give you those, big PER numbers. So I would say let Anthony Davis do his thing and take LeBron out the series and stay at home with everybody else. That's how they beat the loss. That's how the 04 Pistons beat the Lakers, because the Pistons were actually deeper than the Lakers in those 2004 NBA Finals. That's why I would do it. That's exactly why I would do that. We're about to find out just how good Bam is. Oh, that's absolutely. I think this is Bam's opportunity. He also said, like I said before, guys, he said that he's relishing the underdog role. Because remember, the Heat they're not expected to beat the Lakers. The Lakers are the heavy favorites. They're not expected to beat this juggernaut of a team. 2 top 5 players in LeBron and AD. That's too much. Too much. Shout out to Jermaine. He says, off topic, but the Lakers' decision to use confetti in Miami not makes me feel some type of way. Are you trying to base it? Well, that's why I kind of mentioned that, because I said, I think when Miami, they didn't want to use it because they feel like they haven't accomplished anything. Remember, this is Pat Riley we're talking about. This is Eric Spoelstra. We're talking about the Heat culture. They're not about little celebrations. They're not about participations. They're in the finals to win. They're in the finals to win. I don't think they're going to win, but they're in the finals to win. And that's why I mentioned, Jermaine, that imagine if the Lakers were to lose this series, that confetti, they're going to use that excuse as to say, as a celebration that they just went to the finals and they did it for Kobe. No, to do it for Kobe, you got to win the NBA championship. So the confetti is going to be a symbolism of, we're celebrating a historic season. Last year, we didn't make the playoffs. This year, we made the finals. Like I said, Lakerland is spoiled. 16 championships, 1 less than the Boston Celtics. They're about winning. The Lakers are like the New York Yankees of basketball. They're about winning. They're about winning. You can say the same with Boston, but I'm saying, like, if you look at the Lakers, they've actually made more playoff appearances than the Boston Celtics. It's just the Lakers, they rarely miss the playoffs. The problem is they had a bad 6-year stretch. Before that 6-year stretch, that they missed the playoffs for 6 straight seasons, the Lakers had missed the playoffs only 5 times in 57 years before they missed 6 straight. That tells you how consistently they've been good for so long. And that's the problem. Because Kobe was a non-factor, Shaq's points were not as impactful in that 2004 finals. That's why what I'm telling you is, if you take away LeBron's facilitating, the guys are not going to get the same opportunities. You let AD dominate. AD's not a good passer out of double teams, but you let AD do his thing. And trust me, Miami needs to utilize the pick and roll with Bam so he could put LA bigs in foul trouble and can score down low. I feel what you're saying, G-Money, but it depends if the bigs are able to. Remember, also, the referees are going to play a factor in this series, too. Shout out to Anthony L. He says, facts. I agree, Jay. Shaq wasn't really putting his stamp in that series. He was. It's just the problem is Kobe got taken out. So Shaq's numbers weren't as impactful when Kobe Bryant was not even a factor. You take Kobe out, Shaq's points don't mean anything. In order for Shaq to have impact, they keep saying Kobe had to pass the ball. But it was difficult because Kobe had to try to dribble through that defense. Who was going to bring that ball up the backcourt? Gary Payton was not a factor because Gary Payton can't play in the triangle offense. So Gary Payton, you're asking him to be a system player, and that's not what Gary Payton is. Gary Payton has never been, and he never will be a system player. That's something that he had to adjust to when he came to the Lakers in the offseason. Gary Payton has never been a system player. Never. And he had to learn how to play a system under Phil Jackson. And he struggled. It's not going to work. The Lakers should have waited till it really mattered to use that confetti. G-Money, you beat me to it, man. I was going to say that, but Miami should try to get the LA bigs in foul trouble. Right. Disrupt their rhythm. Myers Leonard may get minutes to stretch the floor. That's a good point, G-Money, because I really feel like Myles Leonard is going to play a factor in this series because he can extend the defense with his three-point shooting. He could be huge. Nobody's talked about him. And notice how the Heat have been so quiet. But they're going to try some things. I'm interested to see how they're going to design their defense to guard the Lakers, especially with their bigs. Wasn't Anthony Davis a point guard when he played in college? I heard someone said that. He was a point guard in high school. He was, 6'3"? And then obviously he grew those inches and then became the big. If Miami wins it all, this could be the start of another dynasty in South Beach. I don't think so because I think in order for Miami to become a dynasty, they're going to need a superstar. Because if you look at the Detroit Pistons, they did get to the NBA Finals twice. The first against the Lakers, they went up against a star-studded team. Against the San Antonio Spurs, their biggest star was Tim Duncan. Tony Parker, I think, was an all-star, and Manu Ginobili was an all-star. They were all-stars that season. No, Manu was an all-star in 05, but I don't know if Miami. I can't be too quick to say that Miami's a dynasty. I think if they have a superstar player, definitely, but I don't think they're gonna. Because the G Money, you got to understand this. In order to have a dynasty, every dynasty in the history of the game has had superstars. Miami would be the first of its kind to be a dynasty without a true superstar, and I don't think that's going to happen. You have to have a superstar if you're going to, or a superstar and an all-star at the very least. If you're going to have a dynasty, you have to have cornerstones of a franchise. The Miami Heat don't really have that. So to say that they're going to be a dynasty, I don't think so. I don't think so. LA put LeBron on notice a long time ago. The Laker fans don't care what he did in the past. He got to win a chip for them. Exactly. Shout out to Byra Recordings LLC. He said they say wonder if the Heat can beat the Fix. That's going to be the glaring question. That's a good question because you have to wonder that, can they beat the Fix? If they can do it, because you know those whistles are going to be heavy. If they can do it, I'm going to say this right now. I don't think the Lakers are going to win the series if they could beat the Fix. I'm going to be real honest. Shout out to King G in the building. Let me just go through. Shout out to Joel Hayward, man. Salute. And shout out to Byra again. I just missed some of you guys' comments. That's right. Miami wasn't expected to make the playoffs before the year started. Exactly. AD was a point guard in high school. Yep, he had a growth spurt. No problem. Awesome. Shout out to Byra. He says Erik Spoelstra was LeBron James's best coach. Facts. And the reason that I just have videos for proof. And like I said, don't at me, guys, but trust me. Erik Spoelstra and Pat Riley looked to put the hex on the Lakers' plan and hand Bron his 7th NBA Finals loss. Here's the thing with LeBron. Paul Pierce was pressured into saying that if LeBron wins the title, he'll be second to Michael Jordan. Because let's be really honest, ladies and gentlemen, that's what all this is about. They're continuing to say they're going to do this for Kobe. LeBron and AD got tattoos of Kobe. Dwight Howard and LeBron both quoting Kobe Bryant said the job's not finished. Dwight and LeBron have been wearing Kobe jerseys. Same thing with Anthony Davis. But I'm being honest with you. I need everybody to listen to me when I say this. If you think Kobe Bryant has been disrespected throughout the time that he's passed from, 8 months ago? When LeBron James wins the championship, you're going to hear little shots thrown at Kobe. Trust me. Because remember, Dwight couldn't get along with Kobe. And I know Dwight was immature, but just think about this now. Kobe's going to get more disrespected after this championship. Believe me. Even if LA is Kobe's town, I'm just talking about media perspective. You can tell LeBron want to win. He deferred to AD. He's playing better defense. He's even playing off ball a little bit and posting up some. He doesn't usually do. He also has to play to the narrative, too. I like Bam even more when I found out he's from Jersey. Oh, yeah, that's right. He's from Newark. When I heard that, I was like, oh, shoot. Oh, so he's a Newark kid. Shout out to King G. He says, you on point? No doubt. Yeah, thank you, G Money, for mentioning that. We don't even talk about Andre Iguodala. The man's gone to 6 straight NBA finals. 6 straight. Patrick McCall went to 3 straight. 2 with the Warriors, 1 with the Raptors. But remember, as my man Max, the fate of the universe, Andre Iguodala Kellerman said, I'd rather have Andre Iguodala. Iguodala went to 5 straight with the Golden State Warriors, and now he's making 1 with the Miami Heat. And he also did west to east. Can y'all believe that? West to east. He also went west to east. Think about that. Salute. King G says, this is something special for LA, not just for the drought, but for Kobe as well. I know, man, but I'm telling you, there's a storm coming. I'm telling you now, man. I'm telling y'all. Shout out to Joel Hayward. This NBA Finals reminds me of the 2011 one when no one gave Dallas a chance and they pulled off the biggest upset in NBA Finals history. I feel that Miami can do the same thing. I think it reminds me a little bit more 04, but I could somewhat see 2011 as well. The only difference is their one true superstar was Dirk Nowitzki. Miami does not have they don't really have a superstar. For real, though, this is the most quiet drama season LeBron has ever had, minus the shoot. I think LeBron did a good job limiting almost no drama this season. I'm going to say yes and no on that. Because he's kind of creating drama. He's kind of created drama in the bubble. And then also, if LeBron loses, it will help the NBA ratings big time. Their ratings will actually go up dramatically. I didn't even think about that. Because, the reason, and you know why you're right, Jay? Because so many viewers would pay attention to that. The viewership actually would go up. Even people who don't watch basketball. If somehow he was to lose that series, that viewership would go up because, guys, you have to remember, because of this whole Black Lives Matter stuff, NBA ratings are down. The conference finals wasn't even watchable. Last year, when Golden State went up against the Portland Trail Blazers, viewership had twice as many viewers as it did in the conference finals when the Lakers were playing the Nuggets. Part of the reason is because of this social justice stuff. People were not watching them. G Money says Miami needs to get game 1 or 2 to have a chance. If I'm Miami, I try to get both games. Get a little greedy. Nobody expected you to be here. Just get greedy. Try to get 2. It's going to be difficult, but, Evan Spoelstra is going to have his guys ready to play, and they'll be up for the challenge, I think. Oh, I can see it. Again, guys, make sure to like the video as you guys come in. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Make sure to share on your social media platforms. I truly appreciate you guys being here. And like I said, I will be doing like post-game. I'll be doing like some kind of post-game, even pre-game shows where I'll let you guys come in. If you guys would like to be on the panel and, give your thoughts before the game starts, I'll start doing little things like that, it's just to kind of get in the flow of things, because I do apologize that I haven't, having you guys, come on streams like I had, once before. It's like my schedule's been kind of hectic. So, but I'm going to try to do that, my very best to get you guys back on and, speak your thoughts, man, because like I said, you guys make this channel rock. Plus, LeBron had chances to play with great coaches, man, but he chose not to. Yes, Spoelstra's great. Ron, yeah, that's why I prefer let LeBron run the show, because if not, LeBron's going to be ready for the fourth quarter and take great decisions, and also he's going to play very good defense. Well, the key thing is going to be also, remember, that's also if he takes the ball distributes from Rajon Rondo. So that's another thing to look out for. You know what? I wouldn't be surprised neither. I think it's going to happen, within the flow of the game, depending on how game 1 goes. I wouldn't be even surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if they even tried to. Oh, what's going on, Jermaine? What's up with you, bro? Miami Heat are the only team the systems that the Lakers is facing in this playoff. That's true. Miami is really the one team that actually has a true system. That's true. Verduni's on the money with that. I wanted any team to win except the Lakers, but I think it's destined for the Lake Show to win this year. Yeah. Iggy's NBA Finals run is continuing, and Golden State's NBA. Oh yeah, but we know their era's done. We know they're done. Iggy will try to win it for Curry, Green, and Clay. Oh, I think you're saying that because of the fact that Curry and Clay actually congratulated Iggy on making the finals again. The next dynasty might be the Nets because they're going to get Ibaka a free agency and trade for Drew Holiday. Oh, shoot. Oh, chill. If they get Drew Holiday and they get Serge Ibaka, the funny thing is Serge Ibaka is a player that the Clippers actually need. To be honest with you, they need a guy like Serge Ibaka. Shout out. Again, shout out to Jermaine. The Black Mamba kicked in the bucket. Oh, that's right. They got you. Good point. That's right. Because Danny Green was a Toronto Raptor and Iggy was a Golden State Warrior last year. I'm still pissed at the Clippers. I wanted to shut Nick Wright and Shannon Sharpe up. Hey, man, to be honest with you, the Heat would have smoked the Clips. Well, if they made the finals, well, if you're seeing that if you're seeing this sluggish Clippers team, yeah, I I don't know what the Clippers would have been at full strength with continuity. Um, which I'm going to get to Doc Rivers in a few. They hate LeBron politically. That's the thing. LeBron, listen, LeBron is a great player. I've said that a million times. It's almost like you have to get LeBron's checklist to make sure like the things that he's done. Like, did I get all of this? Like, he's a great player. Da da da. Makes his teammates better. Da da da. It's like you have to do a checklist with him to make sure you didn't say nothing wrong about him. But yeah, politically, he just doesn't have a clue on what he's talking about. That's it. I'm just saying that LeBron doesn't have a clue what he's talking about in politics. That's it. He's a great player, but he's not a politician. That's all I said. But you're called a hater because LeBron is speaking up on issues. If you really do your research, you really know that what he's really all about. And that's I'm doing great, Blash Mine. Hope everything is good with you. Salute to you. Thanks for coming on the stream. Other than the bubble, I agree with that, man. LeBron and all his nonsense has been turning a lot of people off. It's true. Adam Silver is just another problem. Oh yeah, exactly. What I haven't liked is how much they've tried to force it. If Bron wins, they're going to say he won a championship with 3 different teams. Nobody's ever done that, not even MJ. Not only that, Anthony Davis is going to get disrespected. I don't see how a guy who leads your team in 12 statistical categories, who made first team All-NBA and first team All-NBA defense, was a candidate for Defensive Player of the Year. He didn't even get any first place votes for MVP. LeBron got more votes than he did. And I'm not saying that LeBron doesn't deserve first place votes. I'm just saying that AD deserved his, and he didn't get a single one. But then LeBron is the reason that the Lakers are in the finals. I'm just trying to I'm having a hard time wrapping that around my head. LeBron is a reason, but he's not the reason. Because remember, LeBron didn't have enough help last year, and he activated playoff mode. It's like people forget that part. He activated playoff mode, and they lost to some of the worst teams in the league last year that they clearly should have beat, even if some of the guys were out. Because clearly a lot of those teams were tanking. That's what I'm trying to tell people. A lot of the teams last year that were the worst teams in the league, they were tanking, purposely tanking, and they still lost. LeBron would have gotten more credit if he was able to get them to fight for a playoff spot. I would have gave LeBron much more of a pass. The problem is LeBron came up with those numbers. I told you I got some receipts. They really shouldn't. If LeBron doesn't win MVP or loses this series, that puts him out of the GOAT combo, even though he isn't into me anyway. Listen, LeBron improves his finals record to 4-6, but that still puts him at 40%, and he lost 6 out of 10 NBA finals. I told you, I'm actually going to come out with a video on LeBron's 10 NBA finals trips, and I need to get people to understand how they keep saying that this myth that LeBron has never really had a cakewalk in the Eastern Conference. We need to put a pause on that. They really do need to shut up the media. Show LeBron how to move without the ball, but nobody ever talks about that. And I said I thought LeBron was going to come back and was able to talk and was able to move without the ball, but he went back to the LeBron system when he went back to Cleveland. That was the thing. They are even. Though I like Shannon and Nick could be cool, he just looks annoying. LeBron knows that his window is closing after this year with Steph, Clay, Kyrie, Durant coming back, and all these other teams are going to continue to get better. Right. Exactly. Opportunity, right. Miami needs to not be Houston and jack up stupid threes. I mean, we could say that about quite a few teams. Blashmon says sometimes NBA players need to educate themselves and focus on their game, a.k.a. job before opening their mouth. Blashmon, salute to you for that comment. Thank you, sir. That's all I've been saying. It's not just LeBron, too. A lot of these NBA players that don't know nothing about politics. Thank you, Blashmon. That's all I've been preaching. You're not an expert on it. Don't say nothing. That's it. That's all I've been saying. But you get called a hater for that, right? And having this slave mentality. Okay, AD might win Finals MVP. That depends if LeBron lets him do it, because we already know what's at stake for him. This is all about legacy for LeBron James. My question is he going to really defer to AD? Because he's really let him defer at this point, even though Bron has had some really good scoring games in the playoffs. The question is he going to let him do this in the NBA Finals? And remember, he's going up against his former team. So let's keep that in mind too. Kyrie should have won Finals MVP. As much as I want to say yes for Kyrie, I have to say no. And the reason being, what Kyrie deserves is he deserves his credit in helping turn that series around. Statistically, though, LeBron was just that great that he was going to get the Finals MVP, and he was the best player on the floor. But I think Kyrie was a 1A. It was a 1A, 1B type thing. Kyrie just doesn't get enough credit. Shout out to Prince DeWitt. He says, who do you think is the true MVP of the Lakers, Anthony Davis or LeBron James? Now, I'm going to say this. This is the Curry KD factor when it comes to these two players. And shout out to Prince DeWitt in the chat. LeBron is the most important player on the Lakers, but the best player on the Lakers team is Anthony Davis because he does it at both ends of the floor. And like I said before, Anthony Davis, first team All-NBA, first team All-NBA defense. I thought LeBron was going to make a defensive team this year. LeBron didn't make a defensive team this year, even though he improved his defense this season. LeBron did not make an all-defensive team, which means that now is, I think, 6 or 7 seasons that LeBron has not made an all-defensive team. So he improved. It's just he's not where he once was. He kind of quit. And I said this before. This isn't hate. These are just facts. When LeBron went back to Cleveland, I thought his defense in the playoffs were actually, they were good up until 2017, 2018-ish. That's when I really didn't like LeBron's defensive, especially even last year too. The thing is that in the regular season, LeBron's teams, when he went back to Cleveland, you could even look at that last year in Miami. They were coasting. That's what people don't want to talk about. LeBron even said it's AD's team. LeBron is prepping AD to lead a team when he's gone, I believe. It's possible. But you know what? But Blashmine, I'm going to say this. I just think that, remember, the fact that they're going to say LeBron did this for Kobe. He's going up against his former team. I just think that Finals MVP is gonna. I told you, I think that Jordan is up here in LeBron's head because I know, even though he said this is AD's team, listen, if LeBron really defers to AD and AD is the Finals MVP, I will give LeBron a lot of credit for deferring to. And at this point, LeBron showing that he cares about winning the championship more than trying to get the championship and the individual accolade. Because a lot of LeBron fans, more so LeBron fanboys than anything, because I salute the objective LeBron fans when it's like they appreciate his greatness, but they keep it real with him too. But the fanboys they're gonna want him to get that Finals MVP because, again, remember, LeBron didn't win the regular season MVP, so Giannis won that. So and LeBron was pissed off about that. So because LeBron was pissed off, he's gonna want to go for that Finals MVP, and this is where LeBron has to be careful because if LeBron tries to individually outshine Anthony Davis, disrupt the Lakers' rhythm, and they end up getting upset by the Miami Heat, they're going to blame it on Anthony Davis. They're going to say LeBron was putting up historical numbers. Where was AD at? Because the thing is, that the media sets up narratives. They're setting it up already. It's going to be a little bit difficult because I think the Lakers are going to win. You can't use that LeBron was hurt last year for an excuse, man. He was on the floor, especially, yeah. But honestly, Miami ain't going to win because Toronto won last year. X Factor team can win back-to-back. Yeah, LeBron is going to make sure he gets that Finals MVP. He's going to make sure. AD could be in Chi-Town next year if Miami if they turn on the afterburners. Let's see. Politics and sports don't mix. Exactly. The X Factor can't win a title back-to-back, even if it's on a different team. Same thing with religion and sports. It doesn't mix. That's why Mark Jackson doesn't have a job. And that's what it is, man. Yep. AD, I wonder if we're going to see another Cleveland situation with Kyrie and LeBron, with AD and LeBron. I doubt AD is leaving, but I do think the Bronsexuals and media will discredit and discard AD and make it seem as if LeBron did it by himself. The quotations are there for obvious reasons. Yeah, and like I said before, what I said before is that Anthony Davis does not get enough credit Like, how do I mention all those things that Anthony Davis did impact the Lakers on the defensive end, and also give credit to Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee packing that paint? They have impacted the Lakers defensively more than LeBron. They're just saying that LeBron led this team, but I just told you guys, LeBron has improved his defense. Give him credit. Like I said, you give him credit. Because I know people who will look at this video will say, oh, Lewis Knight at one point gave LeBron credit for playing defense. They say he couldn't do it in the West. I said, you guys are so emotionally triggered and invested in LeBron James that it's like y'all can't even admit when he's wrong. Y'all can't even admit it. Because if LeBron James didn't led the Lakers to the playoffs but didn't go to the finals, they're going to say LeBron didn't have help. But all of a sudden, LeBron is the reason in just 1 year goes from not making the playoffs to going to the NBA Finals. Anthony Davis is on the team. It's like it's so blatantly obvious, and they're trying to turn curtain to a blind eye. Is that what they're going to do? Continuously disrespect every single player? It's crazy. It's just crazy. And it makes it seem, yep, facts. 2016 Finals was his last great defensive year. And that's what I'm saying. Kyrie is the same thing as Iggy over Steph with the Finals MVP narrative. No excuses about LeBron not making the defensive team. Jordan made first team at 35. I don't want to hear the excuses about LeBron. LeBron will never be on Jordan's level. Nope. And you know Jay, as a Detroit guy, he's even telling you this. Going by the stats, it's AD, but of course, Bron is going to get that credit because of reputation. Did you see the media went into funeral mode? Oh, yeah. They went crazy. They went crazy. Oh, that's right. And LeBron and his silly fanboys were upset about LeBron not winning the MVP. The thing is that I just can't give the MVP to a guy that led the league in assists. I'm not saying that LeBron doesn't have impact. He does. But when you compare it to Anthony Davis, now I get it. Anthony Davis was not winning in New Orleans. I get all that. I understand all that. He hadn't really accomplished a lot. So far, AD has shown you why the Lakers acquired him, why LeBron needed him. It's a mutual partnership. AD doesn't win without LeBron, and LeBron doesn't win without AD. How many times have I said about the Kobe Shaq narrative? Kobe doesn't win without Shaq, and Shaq most definitely does not win without Kobe. Jordan doesn't win without Pippen. Pippen doesn't win without Jordan. Those are facts. Yeah, you're right. This whole scenario fits a narrative that supports LeBron if the Lakers win it. Perfect storm for him to go revenge mode and play the LeBron system, which meshes up chemistry. That's what I'm trying to say. And that's why I said LeBron has to be careful, because if LeBron is really trying to win the LA fans over, he's won a lot of guys over, but it's again, if people really pay attention and do the eye test and watch these games, these finals, and LeBron puts his ego up in his feelings in terms of not worrying about the team, everybody succeeds and they win. Trust me, it's not going to be a good look for him. It's going to mess up the chemistry. Yep. I think Spo is a Hall of Famer already. Look, he just got this team to the finals as a number 5 seed. And they were saying that LeBron never had a great coach. And like Bariah said earlier, Erik Spoelstra, the Heat are about culture. They've made trades. They really see the Heat are the model organization on how to build a team. If you look at Erik Spoelstra and Pat Riley, they really looked at the San Antonio way. They looked at the San Antonio blueprint, and that's how they built their team to where they're at right now in the NBA Finals. Facts, Splash Mine. Facts. Well, to be honest, AD kind of really did act like a baby. He did. That was a whole lot of drama, but again, there was a lot of drama between the Lakers and the Pelicans. That storyline went through the season. Brandon says, Lewis, you're spot on. Take Anthony Davis and Dwight Howard off this team, and we get what we got last season. So that's why I mentioned him. I mentioned JaVale McGee was on this team last year, and he's impactful when he's on the floor, but he can't play a lot because of his mild asthma. But I'm telling you, AD and Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee, they get you offensive rebounding. That's something that LeBron is not the best at. LeBron is more of a defensive rebounder. And you guys know LeBron James. LeBron James, his career with defensive rebounding, you guys already know how he gets his defensive rebounds. When you look at the eye test, right? Right. No matter what LeBron do, Finals MVP gonna get. He just needs to lead the Lakers on assists. Okay. Jermaine says, like I always say, as big a Jordan fan, I know, but if I saw someone better, I would admit it reluctantly, but I haven't seen one yet. Jordan doesn't win without Pippen. Right. That's exactly what I said. LeBron needs AD as much as AD needs LeBron. Right. I like how Jay mentioned Pippen. He can't stand Scotty, but he said it. If AD wins Finals MVP, Bron Sexuals will downgrade the award and say Bron carried AD, but they say Shaq carried Kobe because of Finals MVPs. There's a lot of context to that, but, they're not going to mention that. Jordan never whined about not winning an MVP. He just went out and proved the media media voted wrong. Well, you know what Jordan said in The Last Dance. Oh, Jerry Krause likes Dan Marley? I took it personally. Charles Barkley won the MVP. Karl Malone won the MVP. I took it personal. Not saying that he didn't deserve it, but exactly, Jay. Pippen was a huge piece for the Bulls. McGee looking for that third ring. I hate Scottie Pippen. McGee is so foul prone. That's true too, though. You're right, Blash. That's true. That's why I can't stand. They gotta downgrade everything to build up Bron. You can't give LBJ his credit without them saying something stupid. Oh yeah. You can't even criticize him right without them saying something stupid either. That too. Shout out to my man Sly Zulu, man. The NBA feels like they have to keep pushing to stay marketable. They never promote other stars. I'm telling you, the Black Lives Matter while trying to promote LeBron has really hurt the NBA's product. They need to market their other stars, man, to really propel the NBA to what it once was. Even when Jordan was the face of the league, they marketed their other stars very well. Even in the 2000s where ratings were down and Jordan had to come back, they made sure they brought him back so that he can help propel and market those other stars. They don't talk about that enough. Everyone needs help, but Jordan never had the help LeBron had. That's another reason he's not the GOAT to me. He underachieved. It's true. LeBron has played with so many good to great players, and you still are 3-6 in the NBA Finals. LeBron is great, top 10 for me, but he's just not in the top 5. The media's been pushing that whole Mount Rushmore narrative because of how a dominant player he is, and if he's really he should have more MVPs and all this kind of stuff. I'm gonna make a future video. If the MVPs or Finals MVP are given to the best player, who would it be? I think that'd be an interesting video. I think it would change a lot of guys' careers. Quite a few guys. Without Pippen, MJ is ringless. Exactly. And also without Jordan, Pippen is ringless. It's mutual. Oh, yeah. Right. Also, ABC doesn't do a great job marketing the games unlike TNT or NBC did. LeBron never won a ring without an All-Star or future Hall of Famer. And look, I try to keep it 100. LeBron and KD have won they've won their championship rings via free agency. They won their championship rings via free agency. They didn't win with them. KD did not win without Steph, without Clay, without Draymond. LeBron did not win without Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. It's that simple. It's not, I'm telling you, it's that simple. LeBron and KD are both the beneficiaries of winning with multiple time All-Stars. They just try to downgrade LeBron's because they'll say that he won a chip in Cleveland, and they'll also say, well, like Michael Jordan, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Love were not All-Stars that season. LeBron was really the only All-Star. But that's still not to say that Kevin Love and Kyrie are not All-Stars when they're healthy, because when they're healthy, Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love are All-Stars. They're perennial All-Stars, and those are facts. I'm sorry. It's a fact. Man, this is why I miss the Splash Bros, man. Even the Suns' Devin Booker deserves some spotlight after their performances in the bubble. Flash mine. Once again, speaking facts. The media didn't just focus on LeBron, right? So fun to watch the NBA a couple of years back. I disagree, Jay. Pippen made big plays for the Bulls and helped MJ out. He's the best number 2 ever. You think Pippen is the greatest number 2 player in NBA history, G Money? Huh. You just gave me an idea, G Money. You just gave me an idea. The best number 2 to ever help a number 1 win multiple championships. That's a great idea, G Money. I'm glad I thought of it. No, I'm kidding. Thank you for the idea, G Money. You just gave me an idea. The best number 2 to help a number 1 win an NBA championship. I like it, G Money. I like it. It's a great idea, G Money. It's not going to be the same, though. It's not going to be the same. Yeah, I think, yeah, it didn't have to necessarily be Scottie Pippen. I mean, Scottie Pippen obviously developed into a great player, but the thing is, if you look at MJ's talents, I don't think it didn't have to be somebody like so extraordinary. I think somebody who can be consistently do the job. LeBron would have been the king for real if he had D Wade, Bosh come to Cleveland in their prime. It's just nobody was coming to Cleveland, so I can understand Bron for that. The only thing is also, I mean, Bron really would have made a case had, let's say, he made multiple finals runs in 2009 and 2010. I honestly think that they probably would have got that. Maybe. That's technically true, Jermaine. That's true. That's a good point, Jermaine. That's a good point. Pippen was a great defender, but you look at some of his playoff series in his career, it's true. It's true. All right, guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a tape. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Larry Bird and Kevin McHale was another dynamic duo. Yes. But I could also call them a trio if you include Robert Parrish. If we're talking trios, Robert Parrish has got to be included. Dynamic duo, yeah, you can say Bird and McHale. Yeah, Brandon, true. Those are facts. I would say people need to do their research on Scottie Pippen. He's had some good series. Don't get me wrong. He's had some good series. He's had some really good series. The NBA Finals, though, I think the best finals that Scottie Pippen actually ever played, I believe, was in 1991. But the other series, Scottie Pippen was not as good. And from 92 all the way to 98, I don't think so. Pippen had his bad moments, but unlike PG, he was mentally, I can't even say mentally tough. No. Pippen is not a mentally tough player. No. Sorry. I don't agree with that one. Sorry. Mentally tough, Pippen? No. That is Pippen is a great player, but mental toughness is not Pippen's forte. Sorry. That is incorrect. Bariah says to be an effective dynasty, all the players on the team have to know their roles. I agree with that, but the key also is you have to have a superstar leading your team, though. To be a dynasty, you need a superstar leading your team. But I agree with you, Bariah. You do need everybody understanding their roles. I agree with 100% on that. You're right. Shout out to AK. Wow, he says Heat in 4. Ooh, that's bold. I don't see that happening, but yeah, Scottie is the best number 2 option ever because he was elite on almost just about everything. Isaiah and Joe Lamau, no way, Jay. CJ Miles is decent, but he isn't as impactful as a Scottie Pippen. CJ Miles. Got you. Bron just did too many spoiled brat moves to me to respect him on a GOAT level of a top 5 player. Jordan made Pippen. That is true. Because think about it. If Pippen doesn't improve, I mean, Jordan pushed him in practice. But G-Money is also right, though. Scottie Pippen also had to put in the work to get better, too. Because Jordan, you could push somebody, but if they don't improve, then they're really not committed to trying to win or be a better version of themselves. What team do you think will have the next dynasty? Well, it's like I said before. They have to have a core. They have to have a corner or cornerstones of a franchise. Like Bariah said, the players have to understand what their roles are, and they have to have a superstar leading them. For them to be a dynasty, You're talking about a Kobe Shaq Lakers. You're talking about a Miami Heat. You're talking about a Golden State. You need a foundation. You need a staple. So you need a core. And then your role players, again, have to pretty much, expect to fulfill their roles. So I agree with that. Jermaine Jordan had one All-Star for the first three-peat, where LeBron had Wade and Bosh for his first two and Kyrie and Love for the third, possibly a fourth with AD. Scottie never averaged 25 points or more in the playoffs. Well, yeah, in an entire playoff run, yeah, that's true. He's had 20 points per game series, but in a playoff run, no. And he's never averaged more than 20. He's averaged under 20 points, I think, in an NBA Finals, for his career. I'm going to head out. Have to prepare my MEPS, but good. Awesome. Shout out to Blashmon. Appreciate you to share. Appreciate that, man. Guys, make sure to like the videos you guys come in and make sure to share on social media platforms. No, trust me. And a Bulls fan, I love the championship teams, but Scottie was not mentally tough. I'm telling you, Scottie was not mentally tough. That is what Jermaine is saying. What Jay is saying is a fact. Scottie was great, but mental toughness was not his forte. I'm telling y'all right now. He's contributed, no question. Pippen is the greatest defensive small forward in NBA history. You got Lewis Sports Network telling y'all this, man. Greatest defensive small forward in NBA history is Scottie Pippen. Oh, no, G-Money, it's not even a maybe. It's a fact. Scottie, shout out to my man, Real McLovin. What's good with you, bro? Haven't seen you in a minute. Hope everything is good with you, man. Scott Pippen did what Coach asked him to do. He was mentally tough. If he wasn't, no dynasty would have happened. I'm going to say a little bit. Maybe Pip wasn't mentally tough, but he did give his heart out and sold to the Bulls. No. Scottie played hard. I'm not sitting here saying that Scottie didn't play hard. That's a fallacy. Scottie played hard. Well, the reason that they almost traded Scottie Pippen that was because more so the front office, because they were trying to pair a young Tracy McGrady with Michael Jordan. And remember, the reason that they were trying to trade Scottie was because Scottie was complaining about his contract. When Scottie signed that little bit of money for that long-term deal, where Scottie should have deserved to get more money. So that's what that's up. Thank you for mentioning that. Prayers to Delonte West. For those who don't know, Delonte was put in he is in a rehab center now. He was reunited with his mother, and Mark Cuban was able to pick him up and take him there. So I hope that Delonte gets all the Medicare that he needs, and he gets the proper treatment to improve his life. Delonte, pulling for you and keeping you in my prayers, bro. Jay says Scottie Pippen is not the greatest number two. It is Kobe Bryant. Like I said, that gives me an idea. The greatest number two to ever help a number one win an NBA championship. That's going to be an interesting video, I think. I love Pippen. I don't want to dismiss him because he was great in his own way, but Jordan never had the help that LeBron had. Catch out tomorrow for game one? Absolutely, Blashman. Make sure you be here, man. Me and the Godfather Jefferson, man. You need that content. Game one NBA Finals, man. Appreciate you coming through, Blashman. Real one. Yes, sir. Been busy with work. How's everything with you, bro? No problem, man. Hope everything is good with you. I've been great. I've been busy myself. It's been crazy, man. I haven't been streaming as much in the last couple of days. I have been putting up community posts, a little bit of everything. My Yankees played the Cleveland Indians in game one. I know we were up 2-0. My man Aaron Judge hit a home run off of Shane Bieber. That got me so hyped. Hopefully they're still up. Could be that because of the era or that Pippen played in that his stats were so low. That's another thing. Scottie ruined his mental reputation when he hated on Tony Kukoc. That's a fact. Kobe was a great number two, but the Lakers didn't have the dynasty like the Bulls. Pip was a key contributor to all 6 championships. Absolute. And he was right about that contract. Bless up to you too, my friend. Awesome. Bless up to you too. Okay, so I'm going to go to a clip, and I think you'll find this interesting. This is what LeBron James said about Anthony Davis for the people who are discrediting Anthony Davis and are making it seem like if LeBron is the reason that the Lakers are the NBA Finals. Take a listen.
If we're not playing through Anthony Davis while he's on the floor, then it makes no sense to have him on the floor because he's that great. And it doesn't mean like every time down, we throw it to him and throw it to him and throw it to him, but we have the ability to do that. And he's been very efficient in his career.
So, for those who didn't catch that, let me play that again and see what LeBron just said about Anthony Davis.
If we're not playing through Anthony Davis while he's on the floor, then it makes no sense to have him on the floor because he's that great. And it doesn't mean like every time down, we throw it to him and throw it to him and throw it to him, but we have the ability to do that. And he's been very efficient in his career.
He's been very efficient in his career, and we could dump it into Anthony Davis. You see what see what LeBron just said? So basically what I'm trying to tell you is LeBron needs AD. See what it said right there. Okay, Ron says there were many tough moments in those Bulls championship runs that Jordan had to pick Scottie up where he was feeling the pressure. That's a fact. That is a fact, Ron. Big facts. Kobe is the greatest number two would be an interesting debate. Absolutely. Much respect to my man, Real McLovin. The Lakers won 3 straight championships with Shaq and Kobe, bro. You are crazy. Basically, he's saying he needs AD. Right. I didn't need the last dance. I lived in Jordan carried the league. Bron can't touch that, man. I'm insulted by the comparisons, but I get it. That's who everyone sees, is obviously Bron. Obviously true. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second, guys, as you guys talk in the chat. I will be right back. Just take a listen, all right? Okay, Jermaine says, my apologies for the audio. I didn't need the last dance. I lived it. Jordan carried the league. Bron can't touch it. Right, like he was saying. Kobe's numbers was way better than Scottie Pippen overall. Bulls won 3 straight chips, 2 with Pippen and MJ. Are you loco, Jay? Kobe is the greatest number 2 ever. No debate. I feel the same way too, Jermaine. Without AD, LeBron wouldn't be where he's at today. Kobe's better than Pippen overall, but Pippen was making huge plays on both sides of the balls to win. Example, the steal, and it led to the Kukoc dunk in Game 6 in '97. That clinched the championship. The Bulls had never had to face a Golden State. They were the Golden State. Warriors are a great team, but they're not the greatest team ever. All that I know. Look at Kobe's playoff stats compared to Pippen. He blows Pippen right out the water. The crazy part is I don't even think Pippen has ever averaged 30 in a playoff series. Kobe's done it so many times. It's crazy. That debunks all those laughable narratives that LeBron James did about himself. Oh, by the way, I'm going to play this again for people who clearly don't want to understand this, but let's see what LeBron James once again had to say about Anthony Davis.
If we're not playing through Anthony Davis while he's on the floor, then it makes no sense to have him on the floor because he's that great. And it doesn't mean like every time down, we throw it to him and throw it to him and throw it to him, but we have the ability to do that. And he's been very efficient in his career.
So that just tells you how important Anthony Davis is. So the ones that continue to say that LeBron, people say he couldn't do it in the West. Well, he just showed you how important Anthony Davis is to the Los Angeles Lakers. 12 statistical categories, Defensive Player of the Year candidate, top 5 in MVP, first team All-NBA, first team All-NBA defense. I mean, what more can you just talk about? That's a lot of things that AD brings to a team. So yeah, LeBron is definitely a reason why the Lakers are in the position they're in, but they would not be in that position without Anthony Davis, and that's a fact. So the fact is, Anthony Davis is the best player on the Lakers. That's a fact. LeBron is the most important piece. This is the Curry KD dynamic once again. Okay, so in continuation, I don't have the clip in slow-mo. Unfortunately, I would have to try to edit that stuff out. I would have to. All right, G Money says, I know, but it's more than just numbers, Jay. Pippen was very impactful like Kobe. Kobe was better offensively, but Pip was better defensively slightly. Now, I will give you the credit that I think Pippen is a slightly better defensive player than Kobe Bryant. That's correct. But I think when you talk about overall, I would say that Kobe was a better overall player than Scottie Pippen. I think Kobe overall. I think Pippen is levels above Kobe defensively, but I think, but Kobe, in terms of an overall package, I gotta give the edge from Kobe to Pippen. Pippen couldn't hold the torch to Kobe, bro. Just a suggestion. Jay, I think Kobe's better than Pip all time, but Pippen isn't a scrub. MJ even admitted he needed Pippen to win in the last dance. G Money, you are a smart man. Figure it out why I hate Pippen. Lou knows why I hate him. Basically, you got to think. I've never said that Scottie never contributed. I told you, the greatest defensive small forward of all time. Scottie may have made big plays, but there are moments where he could have done more. And it did have to be Michael Jordan. Look at that. Just look at that second three-peat. Look at that second three-peat. There were times where Pippen couldn't even stay on the floor. And that's not his fault, but I'm just saying, like, what it helps. People also have got to look into errors, man. But I kind of do agree with Godzilla. It could kind of explain why his numbers are kind of down just because of the fact of the era he played in. G Money says, he says, let me guess, Pip was jealous of MJ and was mentally weak at times. Well, here's what Pip is jealous of MJ about. Pip wanted to lead a team to prove that he was not MJ's sidekick and that it was more than just MJ getting all this credit. So Pippen kind of fell into that Kyrie fold, but you could even make the case that Kyrie was more impactful than Scottie Pippen, but that was really more so with scoring. Pippen is a more impactful when it comes to on the defensive end. I know this ain't part of y'all topic, but do you think that the Raptors could get Victor Oladipo and Gallinari together? Whew, I don't know. That's a good question. Gallinari is a free agent. Victor Oladipo does want to leave the Pacers. I don't know if the Raptors afford those guys? I wonder if Masai Ujiri can make it happen. But even if they do get Oladipo and Gallinari, Oladipo is an all-star. I don't see him as a superstar. And Gallinari is good, and he helps with their depth in terms of the scoring. But the Raptors need a superstar. They do need one. I'm an MJ fan, but you got to be objective. Pip was a great number 2 in Bulls. G-Money, you're not understanding, bro. You're going to have to really think on this one. Jay has told me this multiple times. I know why. But I'm telling you now, Jay already told me why he doesn't like Pippen. I had him as a guest when we talked about Scottie Pippen, and it was a time we were talking about, and it was also with John Stockton. I'm telling you, you're a smart guy, G Money, but that's not the reason. Okay, let me continue. So, by the way, let's debunk the narrative that LeBron James has never played for a great head coach, because there's a couple of narratives I need to debunk right here. This is what LeBron said about Erik Spoelstra. And I'm going to come back on the video. Take a listen to what LeBron had to say about Erik Spoelstra. Check this out. And let me know what your assessment of this clip is when you listen to him speak. Take a listen.
Time we talk about Spo when I was there and talk about how great he prepared us. And we all talked about it's great plan for Spo and things of that nature. You guys always say, well, you have LeBron, you have D Wade, you have Bosh. Any coach can do it. No, any coach can do it. If any coach could do it, then there'd be a lot more champions in this league. There'd be a lot more successful coaches. So the Spo likes it. That's what fuels Spo, is the disrespect that you guys give him, the basketball world. But I'm not gonna sit up here and act like I don't know what Spo is all about, because he's damn good.
Now, that was 40 seconds of the clip, but also there was another part of the clip where he says that he's probably great. That was the part that got cut off in that segment. And I said, well, he's damn good, but he's probably great. I was like, wait. You were giving Spoelstra all this credit and talking about how the media is you guys, but wait a minute, LeBron. Weren't the media saying that you have never played for a great coach? Or why, if he had a Greg Popovich or a Phil Jackson? And I told you guys before, the reason that LeBron and Phil will not work is because LeBron does not like Phil Jackson, because of what Phil Jackson said about his posse, and that being Rich Paul, that being Randy Mim, and that being Maverick Carter. How his boys and him have a lot of implants in terms of their stamp on the league, and how they're able to sign all these guys, to be part of their brand for Clutch Sports, part of their company. So when Phil said posse, LeBron said, no, not gonna deal with that no more. Then also, remember when LeBron first came to Miami? I heard LeBron fanboys were saying, oh, Dwayne Wade was also trying to get Erik Spoelstra fired. That's a lie. Because if you look up the reports, everything says LeBron tried to get Spoelstra fired. Now, I already know what they're going to say. Oh, those are all fake reports. That's just hate. No, Pat Riley even tried to dub down those rumors. But guess who wrote the article? Cavs Nation wrote the article for when they said that Pat Riley said that LeBron never came to him about that. No, that's wrong, because there's been multiple reports about that. And Pat Riley he came back and spoke to ESPN on that, and even said that they also said that LeBron had came to Pat Riley saying, oh, don't you have the itch to kind of feel like you want to coach again? LeBron wanted Pat Riley to coach the team, not Erik Spoelstra. He was not a fan of Erik Spoelstra. Pat Riley said that he was not going to get rid of Spoelstra. You were going to do the things the way that I say things go. And Dwayne Wade even told LeBron, you need to trust Coach Spo. But now you hear LeBron in 2020 saying that the media is the reason that Spoelstra doesn't get enough credit. But LeBron, you went off of this narrative that you never played for a great coach. Remember? The media was saying the same thing. And then watch the media tomorrow. They're going to say, oh, but LeBron has always had higher coach for Erik Spoelstra. And, had he not been there, LeBron would have never won anything. Spoelstra is a great coach. You know how great Erik Spoelstra is? He's always kept the Miami Heat teams competitive. That's number one. And number two, they're the number 5 seed right now in the NBA Finals. That's why I wanted to play that clip. And I also wanted to say that debunks the fact that LeBron has never played for a Hall of Fame coach. That's debunked. Sorry, that's done. That's done. You cannot come here and say that LeBron has never played for a great coach. That is Erik Spoelstra. LeBron learned how to play off the ball, like Ron said. He had great leadership in Dwayne Wade. His personal psychologist taught LeBron how to win. Played with a great guy in Chris Bosh as well, an 11-time All-Star that nobody wants to talk about. He's an 11-time All-Star, so he ain't no damn scrub. And then you got to deal with the Don, as I call him, Don Julio, Pat Riley. Like, they're about winning. So, no, man. Nope. So, this is why. And I'm going to play it again. Look what he said about Erik Spoelstra.
Time we talk about Spo when I was there, and talk about how great he prepared us. And we all talked about it's great playing for Spo and things of that nature. You guys always say, well, you have LeBron. You have D Wade. You have Bosh. Any coach can do it. No. Any coach can do it. If any coach could do it, then there'd be a lot more champions in this league. There'd be a lot more successful coaches. So the Spo likes it. That's what fuels Spo, is the disrespect that you guys give them the basketball world. But I'm not going to sit up here and act like I don't know what Spo's all about, because he's damn good.
Oh boy. Again, I debunk another narrative. LeBron must think I'm some kind of fool. How many years have people said that Erik Spoelstra was not a great coach, and that when LeBron left, that the Miami Heat were absolutely nothing? They're forgetting the fact that Chris Bosh's career got cut short because of blood clots. Do they forget about that? And Chris Bosh was going back to averaging 20 and 10 when LeBron left. He just got injured and ended up getting blood clots in his lungs. Do they forget that? Also, Dwayne Wade missed time with injuries. Do they forget that too? Remember the same Wade that was so injured and Chris Bosh gave nothing in 2014 that LeBron ended up leaving? As a matter of fact, the Heat minority owner of the Heat said that LeBron really ended up screwing the Heat because he had told the Heat organization to draft Shabazz Napier. Shabazz Napier was drafted, and he ended up being on the Heat roster in that 2014 season. But guess what happened? As soon as he got drafted, LeBron bolted back to Cleveland. And the minority Heat owner said, we got screwed over. See, but this is the stuff that they don't talk about. They just say that LeBron went back to Cleveland for business opportunity. Okay, that's number one, to try to win that Cleveland market back over for business venture. What came with it? A chance to redeem a wrong and win a championship. But also, he saw the young boy Kyrie Irving. See, because LeBron fanboys could try to spin it all they want, that Kyrie won nothing without LeBron. And there's some truth to that. But then you have to ask yourself, why did LeBron go back to Cleveland if that's a terrible organization? Got to think about that. Why would you go back to the same organization where the owner called you out and accused you of quitting against the Boston Celtics? Why would you go back to that environment? I remember even LeBron fanboys were saying, if I was LeBron, I wouldn't go back there. But because he got a championship, all was forgiven. See, that's the stuff that they don't talk about. That's not hate. Those are facts. Look at the reports, people. Do your research. That's all I'm going to say on that. I'm sorry. They keep acting like that, man. Yeah, exactly, Rio. He acting like he hiding something. I'm telling you. He acting like he hiding something. They brought it up. I'm telling you. You see what I'm saying? Oh, Udonis Haslem, one of the unsung heroes and great leaders. He's one of the people who step up to Bron. He don't let Bron like run him over. UD ain't about that life, son. He not about that life. UD, you can't push that dude over, man. UD not about that BS. He respects and he loves Bron, but when he see Bron doing that BS, he will step up to him. And I know Tristan Kardashian, wherever you are, he was another guy who stepped up to Bron and didn't take his BS neither. He would talk to his face. That's the problem. These dudes won't tell the truth. But on the Lewis Sports Network, you just heard from the content, the narratives that they like to spit. LeBron thinks he could try to pull a fast one on the real G's in these basketball streets. All you guys in the chat and Lewis Sports Network, and a lot of basketball heads and basketball minds that are out there. Remember, this dude wanted him fired, and it's the truth. There's reports all over that. Pat Riley had to come back and say that, no, it's true that LeBron had wanted Spoelstra gone. But notice how Cavs Nation wrote that report saying that Pat Riley doubled down and said he never came to me. There's a lot of suspect people that work in Cavaliers Nation. And I feel like it's a lot of boys that LeBron is cool with or LeBron or his camp are paying. Also, take a listen to what LeBron said about the teams that he faced in the end. And remember what happened when the Heat ended up losing those 2011 finals. Take a listen to what LeBron said after that.
Does it bother you that so many people are happy to see you fail?
Absolutely not. Because at the end of the day, all the people that was rooting on me to fail, At the end of the day, they got to wake up tomorrow and have the same life that they had before they woke up today. They got the same personal problems that they had today. And I'm going to continue to live the way I want to live and continue to do the things that I want to do with me and my family and be happy with that. So, they can get a few days or a few months or whatever the case may be on being happy about not only myself, but the Miami Heat not accomplishing their goal. But, they got to get back to the real world at some point.
That's what Bron said after losing the 2011 finals, remember? And also, people forget that LeBron James did that Charles Barkley commercial when Charles Barkley a long time ago. Remember what he said? He said he's not a role model. People forget that, right? LeBron said he's not a role model. But according to Bron right now, he's spewing this narrative that he is one. That's not hate. I just gave y'all the receipts, man. 2011. Need to do, not need to do so, right? That's what I'm saying, man. You see, this is what I'm talking about. And then look what LeBron says about going up against teams. Check this out.
I never had a problem with any team I went to the finals. I've always been confident that we had the ability to win. And if you're going to a final saying that you're undermanned or you feel like you don't have enough, then who are you? And it takes the game is won in between the four lines, not one on paper. And at the end of the day, when I've lost in the finals, the better team won because they played well, they were more prepared, and they did what it needed to do to win those 4 games.
Wait a minute. That doesn't make any bit of sense. So let me get this straight. LeBron James says it really has not mattered who he's facing in the finals. I remember in 2017, I remember when in 2016, LeBron won the championship and he wore the Ultimate Warrior t-shirt. And he was saying that he forgot his Undertaker t-shirt and that his wife forgot to pack it at home. Again, LeBron, you're not fooling me because I know you're the king of narratives. You wore that Ultimate Warrior t-shirt trolling Golden State. And then Draymond Green came back and wore the Quickie t-shirt in 2017. That was going back and forth. It was all marketing, advertising, poking fun at one another, right? Well, remember when you and the Cavaliers, they knocked off the Boston Celtics and the media was praising how dominant you guys looked after you guys coasted in the regular season and was terrible defensively because you guys knew you had the best team. And guess what happened? You said you didn't want to think about that juggernaut in Golden State when you were asked about what do you think about the Golden State Warriors. So now LeBron comes at you with the narrative that LeBron says that, it's really never mattered about what team I've played against. Let's take a listen to what he said again and make sure you guys listen to this. I'm going to try to see if I can somehow get these in slow-mo, but just take a listen once again.
When I've won, the same thing. So I'm not here to talk about the talent that I have, the team that we have. The game is won in between the four lines, 94 feet, and the team that is prepared and the team that execute, the team that has, not careless, throughout 48 minutes will give themselves a chance to win each and every game. So I'm confident going into this finals as I've always been in my career.
Well, LeBron, you should be confident. You got Anthony Davis on your team. I remember when you had Kyrie and Kevin Love after coming off the championship, and when Kevin Durant ended up joining Golden State, you said, I can't even think about that juggernaut in Golden State. Did you forget that? You already had a losing mentality before the series even started. You got your numbers. You averaged a triple-double in those finals, which was unbelievable. I mean, statistically, you were awesome, but you didn't play defense. Your team didn't play defense. Kyrie Irving gave you 29 points per game in those NBA finals. Those finals were evenly matched, but LeBron fanboys continue to make excuses saying Bron did not have any help, and that's just absolutely wrong. It was an even finals matchup. I put a video months ago about how even those NBA finals were. It's just you guys showed poor leadership. You guys could not defend. Your defense was terrible in that series, all 5 games. And the thing is, you guys start to falter defensively in the regular season after you guys started that year, 28-8, and you've played 500 basketball the last 46 games, on top of the fact that you were saying that your team was too top heavy. I remember all this stuff, man. I'm sorry. This is why I had to bring out these receipts. Think about that. Think about that. Let me go back to the comment section. Rio, who is he? Even though Zeke is from Chicago, he will always be Detroit. Oh, yeah, he's Mr. Detroit, no question. They even said, somebody even told Zeke that if he played for Detroit, that they're going to love you. Yeah, it was a lie. It was a lie. So the fact that Bron's saying, I'm always come prepared, once again, he lies again. That's what I'm saying. Like, he just does not keep that same energy. I agree. Zeke was underrated. He gave it his all. Zeke deserves a statue in Detroit. Wait, how come Isaiah Thomas doesn't have a statue out in Detroit? Michael Jordan got one 9 years after when he retired in '93. So how does Zeke not have one? Zeke was the leader of that great Detroit Pistons team that he helped win 2 championships, their first 2 championships as an expansion team. How does Isaiah Thomas not have a statue out in Detroit? I don't understand that. What I get on Isaiah is about the lies that he be telling about Michael Jordan instead of just coming out and telling the truth on how much he doesn't like him. But how does Isaiah Thomas not have a statue outside of Detroit? That's disrespectful to the great Isaiah Thomas. What are the Detroit Pistons doing as a franchise? That man should have been had a statue. Are you kidding me? I'm telling you, that dude straight up, I'm telling you, man, the LeBron straight up lies, bro. Straight up lies. Wow, to take him out of the GOAT conversation. Yeah. The Warriors were the favorites in the series, but there were people who picked them to win. The media, too. I used to hate the Bad Boys and the Knicks from what they used to do to my squad. I feel you. This is what I'm saying, that the hypocrisy is too real. How Bron gonna come out here and talk about that? I've always been prepared. His fans fall for that so easy. But when he had to go up against Kevin Durant, I don't want to think about that juggernaut because they got, Steph and Clay and Dre. And wow, he put Draymond on the same level as those other players. Draymond is good for what he does. I'm not trying to disrespect Draymond Green, but it's funny how Bron elevates him, and he had to get him suspended in 2016 in the NBA Finals. If Dre is that level, then you should have got rid of Steph Curry, not Draymond Green. That's my point. Again, take a listen to what LeBron just said right here. I'm going to play them both clips again.
I never had a problem with any team I went to the finals. I've always been confident that we had the ability to win. And if you're going to a final saying that you're undermanned or you feel like you don't have enough, then who are you? And it takes – the game is won in between the 4 lines, not won on paper. And at the end of the day, when I've lost in the finals, the better team won because they played well, they were more prepared, and they did what it needed to do to win those 4 games.
Also, did you notice when LeBron said when I lost? He didn't even say when we lost. Did y'all notice that? Did you hear what LeBron said? He said when I've lost. Basically, LeBron is basically saying he's kind of making it seem like if he's the one going up against all these teams. You see, once again, that LeBron is disrespecting his teammates. He says when I've lost, the better team won. He says, I don't care if we're undermanned. He said, you always got to compare, then who are you? Remember 2018, LeBron? When you traded half the team and you got Jordan Clarkson, Larry Nance, Rodney Hood. You remember that? And what happened? The media went crazy. They said, oh, this team is going to the finals. The Eastern Conference has a funeral. They could compete with Golden State. Did you remember that you quit in that series? You got your numbers and you quit against Golden State in 2018 after 1 game that you did not get? LeBron was all-time amazing in that game. He had 51 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists. But did you know that that's all the media talked about after the Cavaliers got swept? Revisionist history at its finest, folks. They had a chance to win game 3 as well. Now, I will say that on both sides, it was bad officiating, and you could even say that the Cavs probably lost that, should have won game 1. They should have won game 1. But as the leader of the team, you got to bring the troops together despite JR's blunder. That's what a true leader does. And you tell your guys, yo, we can have a chance to win. I wish I could find that clip of where LeBron was just sitting there and just blaming everybody else and not even being part of the huddle and telling Ty Lue, did we have a timeout? Did they forget that part? And LeBron quit and came out with a soft cast with his wife's scarf wrapped around his wrist. And the fanboys, he was dabbing the Warriors with his left hand. He wasn't giving them with the right hand. That's a bunch of nonsense. He dabbed every single Warriors player with the right hand. He dabbed his sons with the right hand. LeBron James was out. He went out to dinner the next couple of nights and he did not wear the cast on his hand. That's what I'm talking about. So when he says that, he's always prepared, I'm sorry. The problem with LeBron that I can't stand is the narratives that he goes around. Do you see how that's crazy? He said when I've lost. He didn't even say when we lost as a team. It's because the better team won. He said me. That's gonna sleep over a lot of people's heads. But he said when I lost, the better team won. So once again, LeBron still makes it about him. See, those are the little things that people got to catch when they listen to him talk. And LeBron, what he doesn't understand is because the fact that his fanboys are such mindless sheep, they think that every word he says just bears true. But if you listen closely, and if you look at LeBron's past, this is why I brought these videos and these clips for you guys to see. It's not that LeBron is not a great player. Dude, LeBron is an all-time great player. LeBron is amazing. He has an amazing resume. He's had an unbelievable career. But the fact that the media, along with LeBron, play this narrative to feel sorry for him, I'm telling you, if Anthony Davis gets the Finals MVP, we're going to see LeBron's true colors. Also, if LeBron tries to outshine AD, you're going to see what happens. LeBron is going to get all the credit, and Anthony Davis ain't going to get nothing. And like I told y'all in the video, I told y'all what Anthony Davis represents for LeBron. I told y'all what he said. I told y'all everything that Anthony Davis has done. Everything changed. A lot of things changed when AD, Dwight Howard, and JaVale McGee. Well, I can't say JaVale McGee because JaVale McGee was here last year. But JaVale makes an impact when he's on the floor. But again, getting Dwight Howard and Anthony Davis changed this Lakers team defensively. And the Lakers lead the league in blocks. It's not because of LeBron. It's because of Dwight and AD. The Lakers lead the league in block shots because of AD and Dwight. And then JaVale McGee, when he plays minutes, he can block shots. It's because of those three big men. It's amazing to me that LeBron gets all this credit being the leader and he led that team. Like if LeBron's not playing with other parts. That's why I want y'all to listen when he says, when I lost, the better team won. LeBron's basically saying it's me against the team. He's not even saying it's me, our team against their team. He basically says me against them. That's going to go over a lot of people's heads, but that's what LeBron is basically trying to say. They don't get that part. Oh, Dallas. Yeah, that's another thing. They keep saying that LeBron won. Listen, the ones that see through LeBron's foolery are the ones that can't stand Bron. And the thing is, I'm pretty sure they think he's a great player. They just can't stand the foolery. It's just his fanboys. They don't want to see that part, man. But that's why I had to bring out the receipts, y'all, because I can't believe LeBron is contradicting himself again. That's the crazy part. But they're not going to talk about that. But anyway, like I said, guys, make sure to share this video. Make sure to like the video. Okay, now that I'm done with the Miami Heat and the Lakers, I'm actually picking the Miami. I actually got the Miami Heat. I think the Lakers will win game 1, but I got the Miami Heat winning game 2. G Money, I already know. I was just starting to follow the NBA at the time, and I knew better. Shout out to my man Jay. Do you understand what you have to do as a mod when a person's comment says show or hide at the bottom of the comment? I didn't even see it. And shout out to my man Rio McLovin. He says facts. And that's a problem. He made an excuse, man. Exactly. Yo, I really feel like the league has got something against Isaiah Thomas, because Dominique is kind of like, he's kind of the good guy, stay clean or whatever. But I'm sorry. I think Miami wins game 2. I'm going with the Lakers to win game 1. So okay. Enough about Miami and Bron. I think with the Lakers, what they have to do is they're going to have to chase the Heat off the 3-point line. They're going to have to get Bam Adebayo in foul trouble and basically dominate inside the paint and control the boards, especially the offensive rebounding. They have to control the second chance points. And I think once they do that, they should be able to win without a problem. Okay, so now that we've gotten the Heat and the Lakers out the way, can't wait for that game tomorrow. Salute to everybody that's here. But let's go to the next. So the next guy, because I had to bring the second part of this video, ladies and gentlemen, and that is my man. Let me just get this real quick. I want to add this to my thumbnail. Let me just add this real quick. There we go. Let's just see. Let me just wait for a load. There we are. Doc Rivers. Yeah, that guy. That guy got fired by the Los Angeles Clippers yesterday. Now, what's everybody's thoughts on Doc Rivers getting fired? I know some people already commented on my community post when I put the breaking news. Again, shout out to everybody in the chat. And Jermaine makes a good point. Let me go back to what he was saying real quick. He says they still had overtime to play that they could have won possibly, but he the GOAT. If you're a leader, you ain't gonna break your hand because of losing one game. It's like he pretty much penciled it in after that one game. He's like, oh, we're not winning this series anyway. But you're gonna say that you always come prepared and the team always comes prepared. Doesn't matter who you play. I told you that's why I threw that video up. Doc deserved to be fired. He didn't make adjustments in the playoffs with the Clippers. Jay says, I see Boy George. Yep, Boy George. Here's the thing with Doc Rivers. I've been on other channels. Some people are saying that it's unfair that Doc got fired. Doc got fired because the Clippers really never got to build their chemistry. The fact that this was the first year of LA our way with with Kawhi Leonard, and they just got Paul George because he missed a lot of time. Here's the problem. Here is the problem. Judging by the Clippers, it was going to take more than 8 games for them to get their chemistry down pat. They only played 8 regular season games after the NBA returned, just like a lot of teams. A lot of teams that weren't even making the playoffs, who got invited to the bubble, took advantage of that, a.k.a. the Phoenix Suns. In regular circumstances, I don't think the Phoenix Suns would have played that way in the regular season. Comments are being blocked. What kind of comments are being blocked? Depends on what they're saying. I mean, if the comment is to the point that it doesn't need to be blocked, then there's really no, honestly, I don't have an issue with it, to be honest with you. So Chicago's finest, Doc Rivers, right? Yeah, so here's the thing with Doc Rivers, man. Yep. Here's the thing, man. Doc Rivers is not a great coach. He's a good coach, but he's not a great coach. People need to stop. Doc Rivers has had plenty of opportunities. When you look at Doc's coaching career, I hate to say it, but even when Steve Ballmer took over the Clippers after Donald Sterling, Doc Rivers stayed for 4 more seasons. Some people were trying to connect it to race that, Doc Rivers got fired because he's black. No, because if that was the case, Steve Ballmer would have got rid of Doc Rivers the minute he took over the team when he bought it. So that didn't happen. Doc Rivers stayed another 4 seasons after Donald Sterling was given the boot. So that doesn't make any sense. So that's the thing. And the thing is, when you look at Doc Rivers' career, the best team he ever really coached was the Boston Celtics. And if you look at the Boston Celtics, they won 1 championship, but his former players act like they won 4. And I'm talking about Paul Pierce and Kendrick Perkins, the 2 spearheaded people that always talk. But they had a 3-2 lead even without Kevin Garnett against the Orlando Magic. So there's no excuse why Doc Rivers and the Boston Celtics lost those last 2 games, because they could have went back to the Eastern Conference Finals against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, it would have been more difficult because KG's not there, but they should have been in the East Finals. And the thing is, Doc Rivers taking over that team, guess what? You did not get the Clippers to the conference finals in 7 years as Clippers coach. Shout out to Ryan. Salute to you. Salute to Jay. Salute to Arnis. Appreciate you. Here's the thing, though. When you look at the Clippers, their personalities need to be managed. They need a coach that can manage those personalities, hold those guys accountable, because the issue with Doc Rivers is he took a back seat because he had Kawhi and Paul George. Kawhi just came off a Finals MVP, and Paul George is a very good defender. He's a star, perennial all-star. He kind of tried to let the players figure it out. And Doc Rivers needs to understand he's not Phil Jackson. Phil Jackson can manage egos, something that Doc Rivers I don't think is very good at. And the thing is, Doc Rivers is not good at, he can't coach stars unless there's a leader on the floor. That's why you had Kevin Garnett. When you look at defensively, Doc did not do a good job with defensive adjustments. Tom Thibodeau did a very good job at that. That's why the Celtics were such an elite defensive team. Tom Thibodeau. Kevin Garnett was the coach on the floor with his leadership. He knows how to hold guys accountable. The man made Big Baby Davis cry, and it made him a tougher player, believe it or not, even if he wasn't in the league that long. Yo, what is going on with these comments, man? So I'm sorry, Doc is overrated. He's had way too many opportunities. You've blown 2 3-1 leads with the Clippers. The 3-1 lead, this is the talent that he's had. Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, Ray Allen. You had J.J. Redick, 6th Man of the Year Jamal Crawford, DeAndre Jordan, Blake Griffin, Chris Paul. I mean, that's a lot of talent. And then with this Clippers team, you got Montrezl Harrell, Lou Will, Patrick Beverley, Kawhi Leonard, and Paul George. That's a lot of talent to only win 1 championship in 20 seasons. And let's be really honest, folks, because if you look at that 2008 Celtics team that won 66 games, they went 7 games against a 37-win Hawks team. And I like Joe Johnson, ISO Joe. But that team didn't even win 40 games, and they went 7 games against the Hawks. Then you factor in that a LeBron-led Cleveland Cavaliers team that was not a very good offensive team took you to 7 games too because they had a good defense. But they took you guys to 7 games, and you almost lost game 7. LeBron almost single-handedly with that great defense in Cleveland almost knocked you guys off of the playoffs with KG, Pierce, and Ray Allen. And people forget that Ray Allen was struggling. Ray Allen really didn't get going about the middle of the Eastern Conference Finals that year. They don't talk about that. And against the Lakers, Trevor Ariza only played 1 game in that series, and Andrew Bynum was out for a knee injury. Now imagine you put Trevor Ariza in there. He can guard Paul Pierce or Ray Allen. Kobe wouldn't have not exerted so much energy. And then it would have been much harder to double Kobe because Trevor Ariza, 1, is a good defender, but then 2, he could knock down open shots. from the three ball. Then you got Andrew Bynum. You pair him up with Pau Gasol. Remember, the Lakers were regarded as having the best front court in the NBA with him, Pau, and Lamar Odom. Now, imagine if Andrew Bynum doesn't injure his ACL. He's going at Kendrick Perkins. And we know that Andrew Bynum is a much more polished offensive player than Kendrick Perkins. That means that Pau Gasol goes one-on-one with KG. This is the stuff that people don't talk about. And the Lakers still went 6 games. I don't think the Heat are going to beat the Lakers, but I think they could push them to 6 games. I got the Lakers in 6. Part of the problem is that Doc showed poor leadership. That's the problem. The Clippers don't have leadership. Also, they have too many isolation players. The team needs to play in a system. They don't really have a system. It's not just the fact that Paul George and Lou Will choke, which is true, but these guys don't have a system. And if you look at their mindset, Paul George worries too much about what people think, and Lou Will could he could get easily distracted. And when he doesn't feel like playing, he doesn't have to play. The Clippers didn't want to even be in the bubble when this resumed. And then Kawhi Leonard proved that, for this season, he was not a great leader. And I think the thing is, we can't expect Kawhi to be a leader because he's not that. He's just a guy that just goes out and just plays basketball. Kawhi needs a Kyle Lowry type player to play alongside him. And I think that causes a balance. Kyle Lowry doesn't have to worry because he'll get the best out from Kawhi Leonard, and then Kyle Lowry shows leadership. They lack leadership in the starting lineup. That's what they need. And when you look at Doc Rivers' coaching career, Tom Thibodeau took care of the defense, and KG took care of the leadership on the basketball court. That's how Doc Rivers' coaching career has gone. The only credit that he got was coaching the Clippers to 48 wins without a true all-star. But let's also be really honest. When they pushed the Warriors to 6 games, no disrespect to the Clippers, but the Warriors were playing with house money. They were toying with the Clippers. They had multiple 30-point leads, and they lost both times. That's because they got lazy. People forget the Warriors were scoring at will in those games that they lost. Doc Rivers had prime Rondo. Exactly. You have prime CP3, prime Rondo, Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan. I mean, they even had Lance Stevenson on that team. I think he was on the 2014 team. Oh no, wait. I think it was on the 2016 team. But a lot of talent. It's a lot of talent. Look at that, man. Jamal Crawford, JJ Redick. JJ Redick was on his podcast and was saying, I cannot believe we didn't win a championship with the talent we had. People want to keep saying that, it's not really Lob City. First of all, again, that falls on Doc Rivers. When things don't go right, you make adjustments. That's what coaches do. Doc did not really make adjustments when he lost 3-1. When he was the coach of the Orlando Magic with T-Mac and the Pistons, he didn't adjust when he lost 3-1, when he blew a 3-1 lead to the Houston Rockets in 2015. And the bench outplayed the starters in that game, in Game 6, the Houston bench. James Harden missed most of that fourth quarter. And then what just happened in the bubble? Up 3-1 against the Denver Nuggets. They got lackadaisical. Montrez and Lou were giving them absolutely nothing. Yes, I get that Pat Beverly was dealing with a loss, from his best friend. Montrezl Harrell was losing, he lost his grandmother. Lou Will didn't want to be there. Some of the guys weren't in shape, but they didn't want to be there neither. That's a lack of accountability on the players and on Doc Rivers, because Doc convinced Lou Will to come, and some of the players did too. Paul George was saying we had championship aspirations. He said it's championship or bust, and then he wants to come out and say, I wasn't championship or bust. And then Boy George wants to say, oh, yeah, well, don't be talking about me, how y'all got me in your heads. I'm not no James Harden. The Clippers' biggest question is, how does Kawhi and PG bounce back from this? Both guys choked Game 7. Kawhi Leonard was terrible in the fourth quarter of games 6 and 7. Paul George was inconsistent the whole playoffs, yet again, for the third time in 4 years. In elimination closeout games, Paul George does terrible every time. And Paul George tries to hide to these star players, trying to act like he doesn't deserve and he deserves an excuse, and you don't. Sorry. Kawhi can only really lead by his play because he's not vocal. What was the point of bringing Joakim Noah? What was the point of having Ronnie Magruder, Amir Coffey, JaMychal Green? I'm sorry, they had it. Too many opportunities for Doc Rivers, and he's screwed. They keep saying, "Oh, you really should have gave him a chance." No, Doc gets the fall for that. Doc rode the coattails of that Boston Celtics championship team. That's a fact. Landry Shamet was cold. Kyle Lowry can be up and down, but he showed great leadership in those 2019 playoffs, and then he did it in 2020. He did it in 2020. He showed leadership. Kawhi Leonard plays best with a guy like that in the starting lineup. Leadership. Kawhi Leonard plays with somebody who is a vocal leader, and Kawhi can just lead by example. Kawhi's not a vocal guy. The Clippers were missing a lot of free throws too. Also, like I said, they got too many guys who they put in isolation situations. Montrezl Harrell is not an ISO player, averaging like 18 points a game and all that. He does that and he really can't shoot. Marcus Morris, they have him as an ISO player, but it's like Marcus Morris was getting those numbers with the Knicks. He wasn't going to get that with the Clippers. The Clippers don't really move the ball. They also lack playmaking in the starting lineup. That's a problem. That's the problem. And people don't want to understand that. That's why this bubble really exposed the Clippers for a lot of weaknesses. They need a coach who's going to be able to manage their egos and hold them accountable. They need that. They need a playmaker on the floor. They also need a big man who could defend the paint. That's why a Serge Ibaka would actually be good for this Clippers team. And I also heard that the Brooklyn Nets are interested in Serge Ibaka. Also, Drew Holiday quite possibly might be a Brooklyn Net. Just imagine you put those two with KD and Kyrie Irving, you have to win the championship. You have to win the championship because you get a defensive guard and you get a defensive big man to help complement KD and Kyrie. Joker was cooking Harrell. He was cooked. He cooked. Well, actually, no. KG did injure his knee, but I also found out that the time that he injured his knee, Jermaine, he also injured his Achilles. But the thing is, though, the Boston Celtics, well, it kind of ruined their chance for a three-peat. I will say that because they probably would have got to the finals in 2009. That's what that killed. I don't know if they would have won the 2009 title or the 2010 title. I don't know. We'll never know. They did get to 2 finals in 3 years, so I will give Doc Rivers and them credit for that. But they had a chance to knock off the Heat in 2012, and they blew a 3-2 lead, despite the fact that the Heat were the more talented and younger team. And they lost the first 2 games, and then they won 3 in a row. That's another thing with Doc Rivers. He's blown 3-2 leads as well. Yeah, that's another thing. Kawhi shot 27% in those fourth quarters against the Nuggets in that series. That's pathetic. Kawhi's my favorite player, but that's pathetic. Well, that's another thing. I told y'all that the Clippers have a bunch of hotheads too. I told y'all that as long as you could get them frustrated, you could bait them into getting them focused out of the game. They lack mental focus. They lack mental toughness. The Clippers are not a mentally tough team. A lot of exposure. And Doc failed to get them to be mentally tough and motivated. That's on Doc. And it's on the players. Paul George is not a number 2. I've kind of realized that. He's not a number 2. It's funny, at the time that him, Melo, and Russell Westbrook were together, Melo was the third wheel, but Paul George has proven that he's not even a number 2. He's a number 3. Paul George is a number 3. Because the one thing that number twos can do that number threes can't, they play more consistently and can come up with bigger games than number threes can. That's a fact. Paul George is not comfortable at being number two. Exactly. I agree with that, G Money. I do agree with that. This is true. The Clippers are entitled and they think they're better than what they are. I agree. That's why they lost. They thought they were better than everybody else. They got all this media hype to win the NBA championship along with the Lakers. But the Clippers more so because they had the best defense. Now I get it. They needed time to gel. But they should have tried to keep themselves in shape. Some of the things you can't control when it comes to family, and I understand that, but I'm sorry. I would not have Paul George because I don't trust him in playoff situations. I just don't. When the game is on the line and you need a closeout, I remember what Paul George said. He said we were in the driver's seat after losing Game 5. The Clippers blew 3 straight double-digit leads. And PG and Kawhi shot a combined 10 for 38 in a Game 7. You can make the case that the Dallas Mavericks probably would have beat the Los Angeles Clippers. I first didn't want to believe it, but the way the Clippers looked so sloppy in the bubble and the Dallas Mavericks gave them that much trouble, trust me, you put the Lakers in that situation, the Mavericks are losing in 5 games, maybe even a sweep. That's how bad the Clippers looked and played. But that would have been a Cinderella upset. So Doc Rivers got what he deserved. He deserved to get fired because as a coach, he's had too many opportunities and has failed time and time again. Doc only has 1 championship in 20 seasons, and in 6 different occasions, he's lost series in where he was in control. That's not a good look for a head coach. Yeah, he's about to have 1,000 wins, and what's fortunate for him, he has a championship. But let's say that Kevin Garnett was not on that team. Doc Rivers would be a great regular season coach, but can't get it done in the playoffs. In the Western Conference, in 7 seasons with the Clippers, not one time did the Clippers make it to the Western Conference Finals. Let that sink in. In 7 seasons with the Clippers, having arguably the most talented team in the Western Conference, and the Clippers could not get to at least the conference finals. I know we get on LeBron a lot for the Hall of Famers he's played with, but how about the Hall of Famers and great and very good players that Doc Rivers has gotten to coach in his career? Now, Doc Rivers did have down years in Boston because he spent 9 seasons with the Boston Celtics, but I'm saying with the core that he had with the aging veterans, he only got 1 championship. Yeah, brainless George. We could call that. We could call him Boy George, brainless George, way off P. It don't matter. He just sucks. Paul George just sucks. I'm sorry. I'm not going with that narrative. The Clippers, they get no excuses from me at all. That this is their first year. And listen, I understand it. It's their first year together. But I'm not giving them a pass because I didn't give LeBron a pass. I know the media was giving Bron passes about, oh, it was his first year with Wade and Bosh. I didn't give LeBron a pass neither because they were already saying that LeBron was better than Michael Jordan and he deserved to have to be in the conversation for one of the greatest of all time in 8 seasons in his career. What? The man hadn't even won a championship yet. At least with Jordan, when they were considering him the greatest and he hadn't even played 10 seasons, Jordan had 3 rings. Like I said, I hope for the Clippers' sake, this humbles them. That they can't just come and when they feel like it and just rely on talent. At least Lou will admit it. They thought they could win on talent. No. It takes more than talent to win a championship. So my man said Danny Granger. Oh, man. Wayward P. I like that one. Jermaine says they make a joke about these teams not having House Jr. or whatever. But the Lakers have LeBron and AD. The other teams have to be full power to beat them. People don't understand that Anthony Davis, a lot of teams pretty much don't have what the Lakers have with not just LeBron, but AD, with Anthony Davis. Is Doc Rivers going to get another coaching opportunity again? Absolutely. Oh, no, that's what I'm saying. You cannot give a team with LeBron and D-Wade a pass. Hell no. Because they were the favorites against the Dallas Mavericks. Just like the Clippers were favored against the Denver Nuggets and against the Dallas Mavericks. You can't give them a pass. I understand that it was a COVID year. I understand there was a lot of transition, but I cannot excuse that because the Clippers were up 3-1. It's not like if the Clippers had issues with defensive assignments. No, they had a 3-1 lead. And the thing is, they're fortunate that in game 1, the Nuggets ran out of gas because they just came off a grueling 7-game series against the Utah Jazz. Yep, that's karma. Again, G-Money, they were playing with house money with that one. The Warriors took the Clippers lightly. They should have ended the Clippers in 5 games. I said that was at least a gentleman's sweep. At the very least, that's what I said. That was a gentleman's sweep. Nah, the only reason they would have pulled off the upset or forced a game 7 is because the Warriors would have been lackadaisical. They decided to toy around with the Clippers, and I'm not trying to disrespect the Clippers. That was a team that played really hard, but the issue is, I'm sorry, they toyed around with those Clippers. They toyed around with that team. That's why I would have won 7 games. But to be honest, I said it last year. The Warriors should have gentleman swept them. That was a sweep to a gentleman sweep. That shouldn't have gone 6 games. So I want to choke the Clippers for choking. If the Heat win the finals, what does that do for Erik Spoelstra's legacy? Because everyone said he wasn't that good of a coach. Oh, Bookie Allen, since you're here, and salute to you. Oh no, the Daniel House thing, that was on him. It's true. For Bookie Allen, check this out, man. Salute to you for being here. And again, guys, like the video. He says that the Heat wins the finals. What does that Erik Spoelstra do for his legacy? Check this out. Remember when the media said that LeBron had never played for a Hall of Fame coach? This is what LeBron said about Erik Spoelstra. Remember the time that he wanted to get Erik Spoelstra fired, but LeBron fanboy said Wade too, when that's not true. Wade told LeBron to trust Coach Spo. This is what LeBron said about Erik Spoelstra now, when the quote unquote was, and the narrative was, he had never played for a great coach. This is what LeBron says now, today in media day, before game 1 of the finals. Take a listen, Bookie Allen, to what he said about Erik Spoelstra.
We talk about Spo when I was there, and talk about how great he prepared us, and we all talked about it's great plan for Spo and things of that nature. You guys always said, well, you have LeBron, you have D-Wade, you have Bosh. Any coach can do it. No. Any coach can do it. If any coach could do it, then there'd be a lot more champions in this league. There'd be a lot more successful coaches. So the Spo likes it. That's what fuels Spo, is the disrespect that you guys give him, the basketball world. But I'm not gonna sit up here and act like I don't know what Spo is all about, because he's damn good.
And this is why I pulled out the receipts, ladies and gentlemen, because LeBron never came out publicly a lot of times when people were saying that Erik Spoelstra was not that good of a coach, because when LeBron left, the Heat were in shambles. Now LeBron wants to come out and say that Erik Spoelstra is a good coach and he's damn good, and like he knows, like there's no Wade or me and Bosh. LeBron doesn't think I don't know what he's doing, because then the media is going to say, oh, LeBron respects Coach Spo. Oh, really? Because the narrative was LeBron never played for a great coach. So Buki Allen, there you go. And everybody who was here, LeBron's pretty much making up the narratives again. This is why LeBron gets the flack for he does. It's hard to appreciate somebody's greatness when you're consistently trying to spew narratives in the media. And also you play along with those narratives when you're having an opportunity to debunk them. So when LeBron tells you that he doesn't really care what people think, that's false. He cares a lot. He cares a lot. He loves when people like to say great things about him. He doesn't like being told no. That's the way LeBron is. LeBron even said that when I lose, the team just play better. He didn't even say when we lose as a team. No. LeBron's trying to sabotage. First of all, look at it this way. The fanboys are like, oh, well, LeBron, they're going to say, oh, that the Golden State Warriors wasn't there. Let me ask you a question. Why is LeBron still trying to sabotage the Golden State Warriors, but the Golden State Warriors didn't make the playoffs last year? Why did Draymond Green disrespect Steph Curry on Maverick Carter's podcast? Think about that. Draymond Green's on the Golden State Warriors, but because he's member of Team Clutch Sports, look how nice Draymond is talking about LeBron now, when he wasn't talking about like that about LeBron before, and they're business partners. They're business partners. I'm sorry. I just debunked that very quick. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is, man. Can't. So that's why I said that he's trying to go with the narrative again. And it's like, Bron is fortunate because remember, with all the social justice nonsense that he was spewing, and how everybody in the media are going to forget about all this when LeBron wins the title. Do you think that he'll ever hear the end of it if LeBron doesn't win? No. Because they're going to talk about how he got himself. I'm telling you, the media, they're going to come down real hard on LeBron James if he doesn't win the NBA championship. They're going to come down real hard. They're going to come down real hard. He'll have his fanboys make excuses, but they're going to come down real hard on him. I agree with Jay. Daniel House was not going to change the outcome of that series against the Lakers. I'm getting sick and tired of people saying that. The Houston Rockets were too damn small. All they had to do was put AD at center and it was a wrap. The Houston Rockets were too small. Daniel House is just an extra shooter, an extra defender. But let's be honest with ourselves. Ultimately, it was one game. That one game wasn't going to change the series. Houston was still losing anyway. They were still losing. Daniel House, that was on him. And he even came out and apologized. So, Jay, thank you for mentioning that about Daniel House. Who told the Rockets to trade Clint Capella? Who told the Rockets to bring in Tyson Chandler, but Tyson Chandler's not even in shape and you don't use him? Who told you to sign Luke Baumute, but you don't even play him minutes? You see where I'm going with this, guys? That's my point. Daniel House was not going to be a factor. Exactly, Brandon. He wanted an early vacation. That's it. That's it. Listen, man, as much as the Clippers suck, they still would have beaten the Houston Rockets. They still would have beat them. That's just how idiotic the Rockets are, man. Yeah, I was shocked too. I honestly thought the Lakers were going to sweep the Rockets. I said 5 games because I thought the Rockets were going to win later. I didn't expect them. I said, but I also wouldn't have been surprised if they would have won the first game. Yeah, Daryl Morey is a moron. He plays to the analytics. The problem with him is Golden State is in his head, and he thought he could play like them with a new diversified offense. All it's gotten, and look at that. His ass has been sent home after that. Oh, that's right, Jay. They forget who we were. Yep, they forget who we were. And Westbrook. He can't. Rondo has to play point guard. He's gonna have to share those distributors. He's gonna have to share time at the PG spot. Because remember also what the media said. Oh, LeBron shifted to point guard and he led the league in assists. LeBron is a good passer. I wouldn't call him unbelievable. Again, that's another thing his fanboys like to hang on when they compare them to other great players. I disagree with that too, G Money, because what if the Rockets threes don't fall? You notice it started to happen against the Los Angeles Lakers, and the Lakers can't defend the three. You remember that? The Clippers are mentally weak. I agree with that, but the Rockets are mentally weaker. And like I said, as much as Doc Rivers to me is overrated, I would trust him more than Mike D'Antoni. I would trust him more than Mike D'Antoni. That's a fact. I said this before, and I'll keep saying it until the day I die. If I had to choose between Doc Rivers and Mike D'Antoni, I'm going with Doc Rivers. As much as overrated as Doc is, I choose him over Mike D'Antoni any day of the week, especially because Mike D'Antoni has failed with the Phoenix Suns, has failed with the New York Knicks, has failed with the Los Angeles Lakers, has failed with the Houston Rockets. And before he stepped down the Houston Rockets job, he was getting offers from Indiana and Philly. The guy's never won anything. At least Doc has a championship. The guy's never won anything, and he's getting another job. And on top of that, they're thinking of getting PJ Tucker and trading James Harden to the Philadelphia 76ers for Ben Simmons, I think Josh Richardson, and I forgot who else. So let me get this straight. Would Elton Brand really be that stupid and sign Mike D'Antoni to a contract, and then they trade to get James Harden and PJ Tucker to Philly? Do they really think that same play style is going to work knowing that Joel Embiid is on the team? I'm telling you, these dudes don't think out here. Mike D'Antoni is way more overrated than Doc Rivers is. I'm sorry. I disagree with that because you know why? When Russell Westbrook is telling people after game that he has to figure it out and he's just running in circles, he can't talk about Patrick Beverley because he's better than Patrick Beverley. And the fact that Russell Westbrook couldn't figure out what to do. Yeah, that's no. Oh, that's a good point, Brandon. Because remember, CP3 and Rondo fought each other when CP3 was still a Rocket. And now that he's in OKC, I didn't even think about that. That's true. If the Lakers, Nuggets, Rockets, and Clippers all play their game, the Clippers are the team to play the Lakers in a regular Western Conference Finals with fans. Absolutely. Yep. You're absolutely right, Jay. Oh, yeah. He's the worst GM in the league. Oh, no, I know what you're talking about, Jay. I know the movie. Above the Rim is one of my favorite movies. That's an underrated movie right there, Above the Rim. Also, D'Antoni's stupid and relies on outside shots. He relies on pick and roll and the isolation, and that wasn't the D'Antoni way before. So what kind of system is D'Antoni going to play in Philadelphia? He goes back to his old ways, but is that going to succumb to success? Nah. If you think about it, Jordan, by his position, may be a better rebounder pound for pound over LeBron, and Bron should have at least averaged double-digit rebounds or average a triple-double for the year. To be honest with you, triple-doubles are really not that important for me. I understand what you're saying, Jermaine. I really think that LeBron should be a better rebounder. They're just saying 7.4, is better than 6 point whatever that Michael averaged. But they're not even mentioning the fact that LeBron he still trails Jordan by 100 more offensive rebounds. And Jordan's been retired since 2003. And LeBron still has less offensive rebounds than Michael Jordan. Also, Larry Bird averaged 10 rebounds for a career. LeBron does not average even more than 8. And Jay makes a good point. I've never seen G Money change stances so many times. Because remember, he had him going to the Western Conference Finals. Right. Anyway, Doc Rivers is overrated, but I would choose him over Mike D'Antoni because Mike D'Antoni is 10 times more overrated than Doc Rivers. That's a fact. I also think CP3 got more basketball IQ in his pinky than Westbrook and Harden have together. That's a fact. You see, they make this narrative that James Harden was carrying the Rockets, but they forget that when Harden missed games in his MVP season, CP3 was still holding that float. Above the rim is nice, man. It was always on TBS or TNT back in the day, especially on weekends. Yeah, that's right, Jay. Yep. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So that was just my 2 cents on Doc Rivers. Listen, he's a good coach, but you need a defensive anchor on the bench, on the sidelines, a Tom Thibodeau type for Doc Rivers to look successful. Then you also need a coach on the floor like a Kevin Garnett in terms of leadership. That's how Doc looks like he gets the best out of his players. Doc, I'm not saying Doc is not a good coach, but that's what Doc needs. That's the smoke and mirrors of Doc Rivers' coaching career for success. And think about that, guys. 1 championship in 20 seasons, blown 3 3-2 leads and 3 3-1 leads. That's too many opportunities right there. That's a lot of dark holes for this quote unquote, one of the greatest coaches of all time. He's still one of the best coaches in the NBA, but too much hype for him. It makes no sense for Houston, but they wouldn't be done at the moment, man. I mean, that's true, but I just doubt it, man. They said Braun was a walking triple-double. Magic Johnson said it. He said Braun was a walking triple-double. But he could have. I mean, he could have. He definitely could have, but I noticed Braun gets his triple-doubles more in the playoffs than he does in the regular season. But remember, some of it is impactful. Some of those numbers are impactful in team success, and then some of it is to escape the narrative. That's a fact. Yep. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So, gonna call it a night. Appreciate everybody being here in this, with me. Salute to everybody in the chat. You guys have always been awesome. Salute to Jay. Salute to G Money. Salute to everybody in the chat. Salute to Brandon. Salute to Jay Jeff. Salute to everybody. If I don't get to you, Raduni, Brandon, Karam, you guys are all awesome, man. Salute to Kid Glory if you're out there, my man Ralph. Appreciate you as always. Shout out to Layla. Appreciate you wherever you're out there. Shout out to my main man D, the Godfather Jefferson. I can't wait for the NBA Finals tomorrow. Go and cover that game live, and we're going to rock it like we always do. Salute to everybody. Appreciate you guys. Have a wonderful night. You guys already know the deal. Oh, shout out to my man Ryan, as he always likes to say. We chat together. We stream together. We family for life. And as a Lewis Sports Network, as I always say, bless up, live, laugh, love. Thank you guys for always being a part of the stream, watching. And as I always say, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you guys are sharing this on your social media. Let me look at the comments real quick before I go. Oh, stat padding is another thing. Triple doubles are overrated. That's a right. Shout out to Joel Hayward as well, as always. That kind of depends, G Money, because 1 minute you sound so confident and then you kind of change it. Trust me, man. I may not know you personally, but I know you long enough to know that. But anyway, salute to you guys, as I always say, man. As Lewis Sports Network, shout out to Arnest as well, man. Salute to everybody. Lewis Sports Network, trust me, I'll be getting you guys back on these lives where you guys get to talk, man. So be working on that stuff. So anyway, wonderful night. See you guys tomorrow, and I'm gone.
In the lead. That's skied out to center field. Towering shot. A.J. Pollock going back. That is gone. Big fly for Mike Trout. 2-0 Angels here in the first. Going back to getting a mistake. Breaking ball. Got it. Trout. Dead center field.
Manning's going to run. He cuts back at the one time to the goal line. Touchdown, Eli Manning.
On 2nd and 4. Manning takes off. He's inside the 5 to the end zone. He dives. Touchdown.
Away 1-on-2 behind the back. Splits throw. Oh, what a pass to Anderson.
Hardaway, beautiful dish. Grant with the jam.
The elevation now. Michael's had 2 shots blocked tonight. Penny Hardaway goes up, makes the move. He sees Horace coming. Here it is.